yeah. We gon' turn it up tonight. We gon' party on the town. We gon' burn it up tonight. Let the ashes fall down. Break into this paper, but these niggas never listen. All these bitches steady wishing, but it's fuck 'em, I don't miss 'em now. Tell 'em stay about my business, know that I'm just getting riches. And I did it all for me and the squad. Yeah, I did it for the real though. You ain't really in the field, ho. See, I came up out the gutter chasing meals, bro. And I do it for the town on the real though. Man, I'm all about the Benjis. Remember days with dusty tennies. We was scraping us some pennies trying to get it.
This guy fucking fucks with my vape every time.
I'm still gonna.
I went and bought him a vape purposely so he'll leave mine alone.
No, it's
Well,
not the
save
same.
mine and use yours.
Yeah, sharing is caring.
Anyways. All right, so we're going to start this.
We're here.
We are here. So today we have Eddie and Rachel.
Yeah.
Greetings.
Here.
The founder, proprietor, the founding father, and then the pit mom.
Oh yeah.
And then the pit mom. She makes pretty good sandwiches.
Yep.
True.
Rolled down here.
True.
Came down from Denver. Battled the traffic just to get out of Denver to come down.
I hate.
Gonna do a little race car shit tomorrow.
We are.
But
been a while.
these guys decided that they were gonna brave having me on this podcast,
We put it off for a minute.
which is bold choice.
Hey.
We put it off for a
Wise
minute
choice.
because I feel like some stuff's going to get said.
You never know what I'm gonna say, bud.
I know.
Some things.
I love.
I'm definitely the guy that you have to warn people out at the party.
If
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like on speaker,
Look,
you're like,
sometimes we don't let him out in public.
Right.
You
That's
never,
okay.
you
At least
it's supervised.
You never know what I'm gonna say. So
If anybody asks me like, "What's that up to?" I'm just raw dogging it. What raw dogging? What? Just life.
Just
Whether you're at Hill Petroleum,
Everything?
whether he's at Applebee's.
getting E67 at the pump at Applebee's, getting free refills. I just raw dogging life. That's how I roll.
so. But let's talk about who you guys are. Let's talk about who Rachel. Rachel, who are you, and how did you come to end up with us? Because we're something.
you are something. That is a fact. I don't know. I just kind of always have been fascinated with racing and being able to go fast and not get pulled over by the cops. And then I met this fine guy who introduced me to it.
Yep.
And got the great idea of, hey babe, let's get a car.
Yeah.
So let's see, how long have we known each other? We've known each other since
2003.
3 or 4, yeah,
Ooh.
3 or 4.
2003, yeah.
So,
December.
but just for the
2003.
record.
I was gonna say, hold on, let me do some math here. Hold
I-
on.
Where's
Hold
my
on.
calculator?
I was 18.
There are some questionable age gap relationships.
Oh, we're just going straight into
This
it.
isn't one of them.
This isn't one of them. I've known Rachel since she was 18
Yeah.
years old. But,
She wasn't in junior dragsters when you guys met?
She was not in a junior dragster. I was not tuning her carburetor on the starting line. This was
Okay.
when we met.
So you weren't graduating high school
No.
when she was born?
No.
Okay.
No. None of
We're
that.
getting into
No,
it straight
it's,
off.
sometimes you need to know things like
So
that.
all hypothetical. Just saying.
Just
Alleged.
Allege. It's hypothetical.
Okay.
Some things are going on there. Some questionable age gaps out there. But hey,
But-
as long as everybody's happy, that's all it is.
So you guys met. You got the caddy.
Yep.
And then
So, yeah.
that was snowballed into chaos.
It kind of did.
Yeah, we did not.
It was a daily driver now. Well,
It
Now-
never really was. a
No,
daily driver.
we raced it the next day or something
We bought
like
it.
that.
We bought it with the intention of racing
Yeah.
that car. We bought it. We bought that Cadillac because I had tried for multiple years to get a spot in Rocky Mountain Race Week, and some of it was a little. I wouldn't say I was putting max effort into it. And then the year that I decided that we were going to get into it, I was working at Arc Tactical. Shout out Arc Tactical.
they're good guys.
I had retired from the motorcycle business, went to work there. Actually had some time where I could actually take some time off working there. So I decided we were going to get into Rocky Mountain Race Week. So I had every employee in the shop on a computer, and we all had the screen up, and they kept hitting refresh, and one of them yelled that they got the checkout screen. So I ran over there and got a spot, and then figured out that we didn't have a car that was anywhere near ready to go on Rocky Mountain.
I wasn't going to drive the Mustang.
No,
So that we were, that was my goal in life, was we were going to drive Casper, the Mustang, and Casper is a street car. It's a no prep car, but I wasn't so sure about sitting inside a loud ass Fox body Mustang and getting
for hours.
cooked through the floorboards for hours and miles on end. So I'm like, we're going to buy a car to go do Rocky Mountain Race Week. And so it was between Corvette and the CTSV. I didn't have any white New Balances. All my shoes were black. So
Skechers?
I was like,
Vet was out?
Skechers,
Yeah.
Vet was out. But then I convinced myself that CTSV had a back seat, so that made it more practical.
Yeah, because the kids are going to totally sit back there.
And turns out the back seat is
Not-
useless and might as well
not,
just
it's
have
horrible.
a Corvette.
Yeah.
You can't get nothing
The
back.
worst back seat ever.
So when I decided I was going to buy a CTSV, I was like, I don't want a coupe. I want a sedan because I wanted the 4 doors, and I don't want a black one. And anybody that knows us knows
Weird,
that
right?
we have a black coupe.
Yeah.
And
2-door.
Yeah, 2-door.
2-door.
And we did that just because they couldn't pass a deal. It had full service records. The typical little old man owned it from new, and so couldn't pass it up. And I looked at some nice CTSVs that had 0 service records. And
Super
You know that they
sketchy.
were beat to shit.
I've known people that drive cars 30, 40,000 miles and not change the oil. And they think because it's brand new, you don't have to change the oil. And I've seen people do that to expensive cars, and I was like,
Oh, I've had friends
This
do
guy that we got the CTSV from, he was getting the oil change like once a month, whether he was driving it or not. I have receipts that show oil change that the car's got 100 miles on oil.
Nice.
And so he was just on that program. So we ended up with CTSV. Sal and I we did a little brother bonding.
That was the first time we spent that long together in probably 20 years.
Since you were an adult, basically. That was the first time we spent
Watching
that
you
long
guys
together.
fight
And
was
the
always
last
so
time.
heartwarming.
Last time,
Last time.
Yep.
And the last time.
So we raw dogged the first Rocky Mountain race
Yeah.
we went on.
It was 2 backpacks and a stack of ARs in the
Yeah,
back
we
seat.
had a whole stack of AR-15s in the back seat, which was pretty entertaining. Did not shoot one once. We thought we had these big plans that we were going to stop and have time to shoot. And all
You don't.
We
On
don't. We
race
don't
week,
have-
you don't have no time to do
No.
nothing.
So yeah, we brought about $30,000 worth of ARs in the back seat of the Cadillac, and we had to unload them at every track.
You never know.
Never shot them.
You never know.
Never shot them. So we like I said, raw dogged it. Drove the whole week on drag radials, no trailer.
No.
Had everything in the trunk in the useless back seat of the CTSV, and had the time of our life. We were hooked.
Oh, it was
We were
great.
hooked. Things have definitely snowballed from there. So, what class did we run that first?
Like the
12.
12-0.
It was
Did we
12.
run 12 or did we run 13?
It was
12.
12.
We ran 12.
Because I did a 12:04 in Pueblo.
That's right. Yeah, because it basically just had pulley on it.
Yeah.
Pulley and we tuned it.
No
That's
nitrous, no nothing.
all. Upper pulley and tune. That's all I've done.
And I didn't even know what that was when you guys went on it before.
Yeah.
This guy was walking through Cletus and the Boosted Boys pit, kicking over cones, kicking axles out of the way, and I'm like, what are you doing?
I was trying to get up there to watch y'all race. I didn't know who these fools were.
We didn't know anything about it.
No.
Now him and Cletus theory. You're going to be at the next all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive shootout.
Oh, he already called me.
I'm sure, bud.
That's there.
Shut the fuck up.
And he's going to come to the airport, which we'll get into.
We'll get into that. So how did you guys get into motorsports?
I mean, how'd you get into it? You weren't exposed to it until you.
Yeah,
until
I
you
mean,
met the
I would
family.
watch my dad work on shit, but that was it. That was
She had never been to a
No.
racetrack or any of that
No.
stuff. And when Rachel came into the family, I was like, "This is the stuff that we do." I've been down this road with other women, even Nikki. Nikki's got no interest in motorsports at all.
Well, that's like Lauren. She supports what I do.
Yeah,
But
that's
she's
absolutely-
not
Right,
she-
yeah.
Like she's coming down tonight. We're staying up here, but
Yeah.
she's like, I'm going home when you go to the track because I don't want to just watch you practice.
Right.
right.
That's what she
yeah.
calls it.
No, that's
Yeah.
true. So yeah, Nikki's been to the track a few times, and she's like,
But it's not her
she's
jam, yeah.
she's like, I love that you guys love doing this, but it's hot. And
Yeah,
I'd
she's
rather
like,
be
I'm
at
leaving.
home watching
That's exactly what. That's
So
exactly how
she's
Lauren.
Yeah.
and make no mistake, Rachel and I would have not a pot to piss in if it wasn't for Nikki.
Oh, yeah, no, for
because
sure.
we would spend every penny that we make
On
race
stuff,
cars
yeah.
and motorcycles and firearms and all that stuff.
You live in
So-
a single wide, but have a Cadillac.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's no doubt about that because if I'm unsupervised,
Same.
stuff.
Oh yeah. When
Yeah.
I when,
That's
when
the
I
downside of
have
adult
money,
money.
I buy the dumbest shit.
Oh, me too.
I buy the
Me
dumbest
too.
shit.
I got listed.
Look at that
Lightsaber
T-shirt though.
chopsticks.
I feel like that was
I did.
money well
Oh,
spent.
This, I haven't spent, I hadn't like bought anybody else's T-shirt in a long time, and this
Yeah.
was a $50 T-shirt, but I had to have the Hayden Deegan
Yeah,
mugshot
that's-
T-shirt.
it's a good one.
I was like, I'm buying that T-shirt.
Oh.
So,
Oh man, Hayden Deegan.
Hayden Deegan. But
So-
so yeah, she got exposed to it,
And I've
and I
just
said,
been absorbed.
you know, I was like, gonna give you, you know, she's like, oh, I want to check it out, and I'm like, you don't need to go do this stuff just because you need to feel like that you're involved or that you're disappointing people if you're not involved in it. I was like, if you like it, awesome. If you don't like it, I'd rather.
Right, yeah.
I don't want to worry about whether or not you're hot and you're tired and you're doing it. She's like, well, I want to check it out, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And first time we went to the track, she was hooked from
man,
there,
yeah.
and she's trying to convince me that there's been times where I'm like, yeah, we probably shouldn't go because, you know, we're trying to save some money. You're trying to buy car
We
parts.
can
And she's
go.
like,
It's
we'll eat ramen all week. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's fine.
Hot
We'll
pocket-
eat
hot
cereal.
pockets and
It's
ramen.
fine.
this is why we need somebody to
It's fine,
monitor
yeah.
monitor us because
I feed
we
bad
will,
ideas.
We will do that kind of stuff. So that was pretty much the rest is history.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she decided that she wanted to make some passes in the car. And so I remember we went to Vandermeer. And,
Oh man, that first time.
And then I rode with her, and she went
pathetic,
down.
but it was so fun.
Yeah, she did.
Pathetic.
You did pretty good.
I did.
I had to explain how to stage and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and then
it was my first time.
You went down, and then you were like,
I'm with you.
I was like, can I do it again?
You let out like way too early.
Yeah, 'cause
and
I didn't
got
know where
back
the
in.
end
Well, I've seen
was.
some videos.
Yeah.
I go back and watch some videos. She
I've progressed.
stays in it way too long.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
better
So-
safe than sorry. No, okay?
I mean, I think that I rode with you like
I think twice.
twice that first day, and then I turned you loose.
Yeah,
and
and then it's
you
been gold ever
And
since.
you were down then, and you went from running mid 13s to your best pass
10s
ever.
now.
You've been 10:53.
Yeah.
10:53 at 137.
Was that a
Yeah.
Vandermeer?
Don't
That's for race week.
don't
Yeah.
When you
don't
punch Brian Phillips in the eye.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell the Tech Shack you've been 137.
I know, right?
What stays between us?
There stays
Yeah,
between
no,
us. Do not.
This is a truth tree, and we tell nobody else outside of this.
That's the
tree.
name
we
podcast.
don't talk about that we've been faster than 135.
No,
We
won't.
don't
won't
talk
talk
about
about
that. I've
that.
been 970s
No.
and Dickie shorts.
Yeah.
I think I went like 138 or 139 one day at Pueblo. And Donnie come by in the golf cart and he's like, "Knock it off, dog." And I was like, "Heard, bud."
Just testing things.
He just came by. He's like, "No, dog."
Yeah, that ain't happening.
So I took a couple degrees of timing out, and then
It worked.
we over around the low one.
We push her, but she does good.
All right.
And our car falls into this weird spot because it's a 2012. So it's 2012. It's legal to 10.0 and 135. If it was a 2013, it'd be legal to 9.0 at 150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're the
All
exact
the,
same car.
the safety.
Yeah, it's
So,
ridiculous.
I mean, I could go
It's
through,
interesting.
when we go through tech, and I could fill out the tech card with a year newer, but then I don't want Dave to inspect my VIN number and then come over and yell at me.
He
about
will.
my car.
Dude, Dave, I already got Dave worked up tonight, so we
Or he'll
don't.
turn the dogs loose.
He
on
was
you.
mad that one day when we showed up early and I had tacos.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was trying to give him a taco, and I'm like, Dave, you want a taco?
No.
Well, he told Donnie, because I went to Alpine today.
Yeah.
I was checking out a 2025 F250.
Yeah.
But
Dennis over there or what?
oh yeah, and Justin Hartless works over there now. The guy
Oh,
that
yeah.
the tree guy.
Yeah.
But I told him to call Dave, see if it's cool if I go by, and Dave's on the phone. He was like, "Yeah, but if my German shepherds are out, stay in the truck. They don't like your people."
That's what it said.
That is
I love
hilarious.
Dave. I love Dave.
And then when we pulled up to the track, what did he say? He said, "I knew you
They
were here
started
because
growling.
my dogs were growling. I knew you were here."
They know y'all are here.
I love Dave. I got to get him a new mop.
Dave, oh Dave.
I'm gonna give him a new mop, and then I'm gonna pay a $100 track cleanup deposit, and then when we scatter something all over track, Dave can just roll by and say, "Bring another 100."
Can you imagine us having Dave on here? Just all fired up and
He's
all,
done
and all, and with his suspenders
Give
and his
it
hoodie,
time.
man,
Give it time.
living the best life. That dude will
love
kick
Dave.
down. He'll kick
First thing
down.
he said was, "I'm already tired."
I've raced all over the country. I've not been to Bradenton Motorsports Park where they seem to like just glue the crap out of that track 7 days a week.
Right.
But I will tell you, within an 8-hour radius of Denver, the Pueblo Motorsports Park has the best surface
For
that
sure.
there is.
Dave does not
And
fuck around.
We live 10 minutes from Vandermeer, and it was super bummed
Yeah.
when Vandermeer closed down. It was a big part of our lives. I'd been going there since I was a little kid, but we would drive by Vandermeer and make the 2.5 hour drive
Right.
and come to Pueblo
Yeah.
to run the surface, because even on the best night,
get more
Vandermeer has fast
passes,
stuff there, and
too.
it's not. I've been on way worse surfaces, but it definitely was not the
Yeah.
kind of prep that happens
Yeah.
out here. And I firmly believe people don't like coming to Pueblo and racing at Pueblo at the track because it's out there in basically at the honor farm, and there's dust and there's dirt and there's wind. But I feel like the track surface is as fast as it is because a little bit of dust blows into that glue, and it's like driving on sandpaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
It may be a different thing, like, you know, we've never run a car that's a single-digit car consistently out there.
Yeah.
So it may be different. I'm not claiming that, you know, a 6-second car will go faster there than it'll go on somebody else's surface. But I can tell you that, you know, all the way down to like 8 and 9 second cars definitely go faster. All the records in Colorado for non-top fuel, that kind of stuff there, have been set at Pueblo Motorsports Park, period. The air's a little better here, but a lot of it's the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where'd you get started at motorsports?
Me personally?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of just been part of our family. So in case everybody didn't know, I'm Sal's big brother. Tommy's our cousin. Our dads were one of 12. Was it 12 or 13?
12 or 13, something around there.
12 kids, but
Yeah,
There's definitely more.
I mean, that's that we know of. But
That's from the same one.
some of my earliest memories, I can remember being, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years old and standing in a garage with a car with open headers running and standing right by the header while they were doing whatever, breaking in a cam or setting the timing or doing whatever they were
Rattling
doing.
the dust out of the
Yeah,
ceiling.
rattling the dust out of the ceiling. So it's basically always been in our blood. I know these two, from the moment they were basically born, they were right into it because they're, you know, you guys are what, 12 years younger than me?
Something like that.
Yeah, you guys got thrust right into the motorcycle thing immediately. But yeah, I remember going to Bandamere before the tower and stuff is there now. I remember I was young enough that the pits were down below where you park now, and I remember that I was small enough that our dad was carrying us, and I remember that they had me wrapped in an itchy ass wool blanket, and I hate wool blankets, like an army blanket.
Yeah.
And I remember how itchy that blanket was, and I didn't want to be in that blanket, but it was freezing cold, and because it must have been early.
Dennis.
Early or late. What's up, Doc?
Dennis is here.
Roll through.
So drag racing. Our dad used to run a car and help people run a car at Inglewood Speedway.
Yeah.
Roundy round track there in Inglewood,
Yeah, I
Colorado.
know you do that. Our dad used to roundy round.
Yeah, roundy round.
didn't know
figure
that.
eights
Like
and all
legit
that stuff.
roundy round.
Really?
Yeah,
I never knew that.
There was an oval track right at, you know, we're in between Santa Fe and Federal on Oxford. There was a roundy round track there. It's Inglewood Speedway.
Yeah, he used to
I
roundy
never
round.
knew that.
He used to. I remember him
And
telling me a
Lakeside.
story one time about the guy that the owner of the car, the racer. He wasn't gonna make qualifying.
Yeah.
Like he had to work something,
Yeah.
so they sent Dad out there to qualify for him,
Yep.
and he ended up qualifying number 1. And they wanted our dad to race that night, and he said, "That scared the shit out of me. I ain't doing that." Yeah.
So
Damn.
roundy round stuff. So I remember being out there a lot. I remember me and our other cousin Tom. We had to have been maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I remember that our grandpa Cisneros, he had a '58 Chevy Apache truck, and it was 3 on the tree, and it had
That the red one?
Yeah, it wasn't red back then; it was gray
Okay.
originally, but it had a pretty nasty small block in it. I remember just by the way that it sounded, and I remember, you know, thinking back on it now, it must have been pretty aggressive because it had to have been revving 7,500.
Jeez.
So it was healthy. But I remember being in the front seat of that truck with our other cousin Tom and rolling out of Crowley and turning onto Highway 50 or Highway 96 there, going towards Ordway, and him just letting that thing loose with 3 on the tree, big stock steering wheel, and just jamming that thing. And me and Tom were like, holy shit, you know, and we were little kids. And so, I mean, it was probably a 13-second truck. But
Yeah.
I remember specifically the sound of that thing and him full throttle shifting it with 3 on the tree.
See, I'd never even heard
And
these
just
stories.
getting it.
Me neither.
And then we came. I remember coming back because we went to Ordway because he went and he bought us Mountain Dews or something. We went to the junction. We went to the junction. We went to the junction.
We still call it that.
I
too,
call it
buddy.
that all the
Yeah, we
time.
went to the junction. I remember he bought us Mountain Dews or something and came back. And I remember that our old man and Uncle Rich were like pissed because when you go
Because
out,
they didn't have
anybody that's never
seatbelts.
been to Crowley, you go out of town and then you go across railroad tracks and then you basically go by Crowley on Highway 96. So my dad and our uncle and my mom and all of our aunts were standing there as our grandpa is on Highway 96 with two 5-year-olds in the truck with no seatbelts and letting this thing eat on Highway 96. Came back and I was like, I remember my dad was pissed. And I did, nowadays looking back on it, I understand why. Right. But yeah, so I remember that stuff. And then, trying to remember how old I was when I got my first motorcycle. I was pretty young, not as young as you. You got a motorcycle when you were 4, but I think I was like 8 or 9 when I got my first motorcycle.
The little RM80.
It was a YZ80.
A YZ80.
Yeah, it was a 75 YZ80B. But before that, I had a go-kart, and there are pictures of me on the go-kart with this dude sitting in my lap in the alley behind our house. It was safe.
Yeah, no, that's totally safe.
No helmet, no nothing.
No.
Troll hair.
Troll hair.
I had some exciting hair.
I see too.
Exciting hair. It's back there.
Yeah, you're probably. I mean, you're probably
that's
not
thrilling.
even a year old, and you're sitting in my lap while I'm driving my go-kart up and down the alley. So that was started off with that. Went to motorcycles, and then motorcycles from there on. We've always done cars, and we've dabbled in drag racing and all that stuff. But our family's been a motorcycle family for forever and ever. I remember our dad always had dirt bikes and street bikes, and I remember he used to take me for rides on the motorcycle and used to basically strap me to the motorcycle with his belt because I would fall asleep on the motorcycle, so I didn't fall off. So I'd sit in front of him and he'd strap me so that when I nodded off, I didn't fall off the bike.
Well, and people don't know that we actually used to race dirt bikes, vintage motocross.
Vintage motocross, modern motocross, supermoto, and some flat track. The only thing that we've never done competitively is road racing.
I can't. Well, he won't let me ride a street bike no more.
Yeah, taking your life in your own hands, man. I ride my Harley back and forth to my work. I live 4 miles from where I work, but people are they don't pay attention. They try to run you off the road.
Yeah, when I had my R1, there was definitely a couple times that were questionable.
Yeah,
that people almost hit me.
Oh, people are crazy.
People are
out of control.
Yeah.
It sucks because I love to ride, but at the same time, I get
also love to live.
You do it because you enjoy riding, not. You don't want to spend your whole time basically trying to stay alive.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I got rid of that bike after a year is because I was like, this is very impractical.
Well, I sold my previous Harley because I put in 8
Yeah, it
years.
just
I put
sat
like
there.
3,000 miles on it because it just sat there because I worked across town and I didn't feel like driving across town. Now that
And the weather didn't help too.
For the last 3 years, I only work 4 miles from home, so I've ridden more on the street in the last 3 years than I have in probably the last 10 total.
And just to put it out there, I am the 2004 125 Classic champion. Just
on a Hodaka.
What year was that?
73 Combat Wombat.
And it had a Super Combat.
Super Combat motor.
It did.
It did.
It did.
Did you have it in your room?
I did have it in my room for the longest time.
He's one of the few people on the planet that say that he's owned a Super Trick Hodaka.
And then I sold it for $500.
What is wrong with you?
I needed
You
the
are
money.
so
Do you have
dumb.
any idea how the cool stuff that this fool
I
had
know.
in
I
his
believe
life?
it. I believe it.
He's been the sport.
That's some cool shit.
He was my mom's favorite.
I still am. By the way, did she text you to let you know they're in Missouri?
They're
Yeah.
going to Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah.
She texted me today also to let me know that Taco John's in Lamar is now closed.
Well,
She was
goddamn.
rather upset with
But the last time we were in Topeka, I'm trying to go to Taco John's that's in the drive-thru at the gas station, and Rachel's like,
Oh, no, you're being dramatic.
How can there be a drive-through Taco John's
That's
at the gas
not
station?
how the approach
And I'm
was
like,
at all.
Don't ask questions.
You're making us look weird. You're looking like a
Mom
tourist.
she was hurt enough that she had to send me a text this morning to let me know Taco John's is closed in
Oh,
Lamar.
I can understand that. They're few and far between.
Yeah, they're good
The closest
though.
one in Denver there's 2 of them. I think there's one out on the east side of town, but there's one on like 136th in I-25.
It's not close.
There's one in Sterling.
There used to be one on like 58th and I-25 that was also a Steak and Shake. And so
He knows where all the good
He
shit's
does.
at.
You don't want Steak and Shake. So, but then they closed that one, so I was like, well, I'm bummed.
So you were
But-
4 or 5 when you
Bums.
first kind of got exposed to motorsports in general?
Yeah, if not younger.
And how old were you?
I was 4.
But when he was born.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't get a dirt
Born.
bike till I was 4.
So I think my earliest memory of motorsports was when I went riding with you guys.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this story a million times.
Nobody gets it though.
But
That was a 91 JR50.
Yeah.
90 or
was
90.
it a Meredith
It was
Brand new, off the showroom floor.
This fool had a brand new motorcycle before I had a brand new motorcycle. So if you were born, it was like a 91 or a 92.
So where were we at when we were riding?
I swear we were at the farm at Oscar and Bear's farm.
Somewhere out there. And I remember I got on it, and your dad said, okay, do not pull the front brake. I said, all right, I got this. First thing I did when I was going around the corner, I pulled the front brake. Went right over that thing.
There you go.
And I'll never do that again.
Well,
I haven't. I haven't.
Facts.
I haven't. And it's crazy that's the earliest memory I have of motorsports. And I do remember being at, Grandpa's house and them always having a hood open, doing some shit.
On the purple Chevelle?
Yep. Yeah, just always doing something. And then my dad got the Monty, and always.
His dad had an '86 Monty Super Sport.
A brand new, bought that thing brand new.
Yeah.
Black cherry.
Oh,
what
man.
would you do to have that back?
I would too. I would.
You wouldn't go to Barrett Jackson.
I would.
With the
That's
Thrill
where
Race
cool
Week.
cars. That's where
With the
the
Thrill
Yeah.
Fire.
the '68 Camaro that we had.
Yeah.
It was his dad's originally.
Yep.
And we
I heard that thing had a hot cam in it too.
That thing had a cam that was hitting harder than a drunk step down. That thing had a cam. That thing was nasty, and that was
You
it
will
was so
remember.
silly. And I remember that we had that car, and it was pretty decent. Was it a like show quality car? No, but it was an okay driver.
Yeah.
And I remember being stupid, and it was going to be my car, and it came to the point that the motorcycle things were getting pretty big, and my dad's like, well, here's the we either going to do motorcycles or we're going to do this Camaro. Which one?
And you chose
And
motorcycle.
I was like,
And
I want
they had a
motorcycles.
'68 Camaro
And that's
Super Sport,
Yep.
and said, "I'm gonna choose dirt bikes."
Listen, with all the rides,
With everything that that everybody had, 66 Chevelles, 68 Camaros.
If I had to go back in time,
You'd probably
I would
change
have
your
kept
minds.
the
Yeah.
Camaro would be probably worth more than all the motorcycles I've ever owned
Yeah.
combined.
we talk about all the time, all the cars
Everything.
that
Oh,
the
yeah.
boys had.
Yeah.
If we had all those cars,
Our dad had a
66
66 Chevelle
396,
396.
4-speed.
Our other cousin Tom, his dad, Uncle Rich, he also had one. I don't think it was a Super Sport. The one that they have now is not the same one he had back
No,
then.
they
He had
restored
one.
that.
did Uncle Bob have one?
Yeah, Bob had a Tempest.
Uncle Bob had a Tempest, but then Uncle Bob, I remember when I was really young, had a '57 Chevy, and where the garage is at the old house down there in Crowley, there didn't used to be a garage. It was just like a little shack, and behind that was like a shitty carport, and there was a '57 Chevy Bel Air. I remember sitting in that carport, that typical front end all high because there was no motor in it, no hood on it.
Yeah.
And who knows what happened to that car? I'm sure they sold it for nothing.
Right.
Could you imagine all the money?
I'm sure Sonny had a fair share of his rides.
Yeah, they always had cars. I mean, him and little Bobby, he had like a '70 Chevelle. I remember he had a big block like a '70 Chevelle.
Killian Ferguson.
Yep.
He messaged. We talked a while back during football season.
Yep.
And he was telling me how, Uncle Sonny and little Bobby and stuff.
Yeah.
That he wishes they were still around and stuff because they were teasing. I was like, we wish they were all still around,
Yeah.
dude.
They all gone too young, man. Can you imagine if our old man was still alive? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, he be shitting you guys,
Yeah.
all of us.
I was
You
gonna
mean
say
you
you
too?
too.
I know,
He'd be in trouble right with us.
Oh, he'd be
over there
on
sitting
my
where Dennis is
ass.
at, sitting right now.
Yep.
He'd be telling me.
He'd be telling us,
Shaking
he'd
his
be,
head.
He'd be telling us no.
They'd be
No.
telling you, no, this is how the
No.
story went.
No.
First,
Yep.
you motherfuckers.
He'd be.
Oh, we think we make a good pass. We go like this.
No. He'd be over there watching. He'd be over there watching me, staring at a spark plug, and be like, "Got too much time in it. Too much.
That ain't
Too
that ain't
much.
gonna cut it.
That ain't
That ain't
do
gonna cut it.
You're gonna see. You're gonna see.
Yep.
He told me. You're gonna see.
You'll find out.
Every time I go see him too in Crawley, I give him a hug. He said, "What you got down there? What you packing?" I said, "God damn it, what you got?"
He used to.
Man.
When I was probably in middle school or something like that. Every time I'd had friends come over to the house, he'd always ask me, "You guys got any drugs? You guys got any drugs?" They'd be like, "Does your dad use drugs?" I'm like, "No, he's just trying to get you to say you got some." Got any drugs? Got any drugs? I'm like, come on. But our old man was definitely, he was a piece of work, man.
So when we got into dirt bikes heavy. Like people don't understand, we did this way before cars.
Way before cars.
Dirt bikes were very heavy. You in the early 2000s, you
Got to remember back that far, man. I used to drink a lot of beer back in those days.
for some reason, one way or another, I know how. You ended up with a brand new DRZ that was out of a fire from Fay Myers
So-
or Grand Prix.
So from Fay Myers burned down in
2000 or 2001.
I think 2000. I think 2001. Like it was late 2000, early 2001, and the shop that I was working at was also a motorcycle salvage yard, and they got
All the bikes,
all the burned bikes from there.
that were brand new off the showroom.
But at that same time, I also already had a 2000 Kickstart only DRZ. Well, I had one. I bought it, rode a little bit, and it was a Kickstart only DRZ, and then ended up selling it, and then I ended up with a back. Long story. I've had multiple DRZs come and go that I've owned previous times, but then I got the brand new 2001 DRZ that had been in the Faye Myers fire, and then basically cleaned it and fixed it.
Well, before we're going to go back to brand new bikes. So I think in 1996 you had a brand new RMX 250.
That is the first brand new motorcycle I'd ever had.
And I fucked that whole deal up, didn't I?
Yeah, you dropped
Is that
it
the
over
one
the-
you
You
dropped?
dropped it over
I-
the
dropped it over
Dude,
the side of
I
my
was-
truck.
He's like, yeah, I got it. He didn't.
I was standing in the truck and he said, "You got it?" I told him I got it.
Did you
Well,
have
he
it?
let go of it and I didn't have it at all.
Turns out,
Turns out I didn't
didn't have it at all.
And I dropped that thing out of the side of his red Toyota. He had what year was that Toyota truck? That
86 Toyota.
I dropped it out.
No, it was an 85. It was a solid.
You
axle
done
one, so it was
fucked
85.
up.
I dropped that thing out the side of his truck. I'm sorry, but when I bought my
Idiot.
R1, he was gonna drop it out. He's like, I
He-
kind of
he
owe you.
did,
I was gonna
yeah.
throw it over the side of the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
It's
the
only
first, that was the
fair.
first brand new motorcycle I ever had was that RMX, and then after that, I had
That was a whole bad day.
a 99 KX 250 that you ended up with there for a while.
By the way,
Is that the bad one? The badass one?
Yeah.
The titanium screws?
they had
Yeah,
titanium screws. So when you got this DRZ, this brand new one that was burned,
Yep.
that was during the peak of internet forums, or they were just kind of starting out.
I would say it was a little before the peak, but it was definitely, they were becoming the hot deal.
And we had to come up with cool usernames, you
Yeah.
know, and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
And you came up with burned DRZ.
Yep, burned -DRZ. It's still I think that's still the actual, on my YouTube, I think that's
It
the
is.
YouTube thing.
Don't follow his YouTube. His videos got enough views already.
I know.
My YouTube was fire.
Hell yeah.
Because YouTube-
75,000 views.
On one video.
On what?
And that one video is of the world's fastest and most powerful DRZ on the
Yep.
planet.
Yep, sits in my garage to this day.
How did this DRZ, why did you
Why
choose
not?
the DRZ? That's,
You
I know.
So at the time, I had the brand new Kickstart only DRZ, and in the early days of when the first Four Strokes first came on the scene, the early days, nobody really had a handle on the jetting and how to start them consistently. So I had bought that as a real pain in the ass to start, which just turns out the stock jetting sucks.
Mine's still
So
a pain
I
in the
got
ass.
rid of it and I had gotten rid of it. Didn't have a dirt bike at the time. I had young kids,
Which
and-
are now
which now are full on
yeah.
adults, way adults.
30s and 20s.
Yeah, and then didn't have a dirt bike for a while, and then got this brand new DRZ, and it was electric start DRZ, which was a game changer. And at the time, the only other option were KTM's, which
Are piles of junk.
yeah, we're definitely not. We are definitely not
Back
on
then,
the-
maybe
we're-
today they're better.
We're not on the Orange Brigade. We're definitely not KTM guys. But the other option was the Yamaha YZ400F, and then it turned into the YZ426.
Yeah, I remember
And
those.
they were kickstart only.
Craig Lewis used to have one.
Yeah, so they were kickstart only. So the DRZ thing came because they were electric start. They had electric start version. So
Because
that's
there was
what
no RMZs yet.
and they were underpowered compared to the Yamahas. So that's where the game started. Started developing the motor, and
And I mean, you've worked with companies like what, Hot Cams?
so hot cams and hot rods. The whole reason that they exist was because they started building DRZ camshafts and DRZ stroker crankshafts, and all of that exists because of me.
Then they contact, because you were working at Steels and OTD Excel.
So by that point, when I first started building DRZ motors, I still worked at Steels, and then that ran its course. And because I started off my career at Steel Cycle, I worked there a handful of years, left there, went to Performance Cycle, where that really exposed me to. That's where I started running my first Dynojet motorcycle dyno. We developed all the Dynojet high altitude jet kits. So nobody really does jet kits anymore for motorcycles because nothing's carbureted besides the stuff that we play with. And so you used to be able to get a normal low altitude jet kit from Dynojet for all different models of motorcycles, and then they had a high altitude version. And all the high altitude versions were developed at Performance Cycle.
Through you and Kyle?
Either before, it was Johnny Hargrove worked there before me, and he did probably 50% of them, and then I did the other half later on after that.
And so when you started working with these companies for the DRZs, they were sending you stuff, and you were like, "This is working. This ain't gonna work."
So it just became that it got so popular building the DRZ motor because stock one makes 35 horsepower, and compared to the
dyno
other
charts
stuff,
to prove it.
yeah. And so compared to the other stuff that's out there, they were underpowered. So I started building the motors. I was having cylinders custom done. Basically, we started off by putting an iron sleeve in them to make them big bore. Turned out that was taking the motor back 20 years in technology. It was hard to keep a head gasket in them. So then I started having the cylinders bored and replated. And originally I was making them 94.5 millimeter. We found out that 94.5 was too big. The bottom part of the cylinder would fracture over time and fall down into the cases and blow them up. So we backed the bore size off to 94 millimeter. Kind of explored the whole, as far as you could take a 94 millimeter, with having webcam and Megacycle make me custom cams and all that. We knew at that point we needed to make the displacement bigger. There were companies that were making big bore cylinders. Thumper Racing had one that was all the way out to 97 millimeters, that made one at 470 just based on bore size. They made okay power, but you could not keep a head gasket in it. Like, they would not run more than a couple hours on that. So we went down that path again on making the cylinder bigger. They swore that, our sleeve, and we can machine them this way, it'll be fine. Never was fine. Those big bores, anything bigger than 94 millimeter based on a stock cylinder was not reliable. So we stuck with the 94. So then I was having Falcon. I had Falcon do a 10 millimeter stroker crank, which made a DRZ 505 cc's.
And I do believe there's only one or two of those in existence.
Yeah, I know that there was some out there. Davey Durrell still has one, a flat track one. The problem with them is when you stroke them that far, the rod angle gets so bad that the rods get fragile. So if you try to rev them hard, they will break the rod.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is in order to make a 10 millimeter stroker, you had to put a 5 millimeter spacer under the cylinder. And so at that point, there wasn't enough slack in the cam chain, so you had to use a longer cam chain. And kind of like bicycle or motorcycle chain, you can't just go one link, it's 2 links. So when you ran the longer cam chain because of the increased deck height, then with the stock cam chain guides and tensioner geometry, you had to run the cam chain tensioner so far in that basically you had to constantly put cam chains in them, because if they wore at all, you couldn't tension it because it was at the full slack. So we started backing the stroke size off. We basically settled on that point in time at 5 millimeter stroke. You get away. That was the most stroke change you could get away with using a cylinder spacer with a stock length cam chain and keep the stock cam chain geometry.
And what displacement is that?
So a 94 millimeter cylinder with a 5 millimeter stroker is a 470.
And is that the biggest? How did you end up with a 485?
So my 485 motor is actually an Athena 94 millimeter cylinder that was on a blown up motor, so the plating was damaged. So I had Millennium Technologies bore an Athena cylinder and put an aluminum sleeve in it to make that 95.5 millimeters.
Nobody has that.
I'm the only one that has that. There are some cylinders out there, some billet cylinders out there that guys have made since that are 96 millimeter, but mine that makes those 490 cc's with the 5 millimeter crank. 5 millimeter cranks no longer exist. They still had issues with the piston speeds and the rod angle. So when hot rods came on, they were originally building a 5 millimeter stroker. You either had to use a special piston with a relocated wrist pin, or you had to use a cylinder spacer. So they were making short pin to crown height pistons that were only 2 rings. You could only get like 10 hours out of them before you're having oil control issues. So they backed the stroke off to 4 millimeter. So 4 millimeter stroker and a 4 millimeter bore is a 462, and that's the most common big bore stroker.
Well, I want it.
I know we did.
Okay.
Where are you?
So we're gonna,
I'm at a
so we're gonna work on
440.
That ain't shit.
So his,
Don't look at mine.
They call it a 440, but it's actually a 436. A 4mm big bore DRZ is a 436.
Well, I want the biggest big boy.
So
My bike's a very good conversation piece.
Why do you want the biggest one? We don't
There
go
was
past third gear.
there was a
We don't.
there was about a 10-year period where I have pictures of a workbench that looks like this table, that there's 10 DRZ motors lined up on it.
People used to ship them to you in coolers.
I was doing six or 8 DRZ motors a week at one point in time.
Sounds like we could have owned PPIR.
We could have,
Yeah.
if they would have all kept their cars, and he would have rode the DRZ train, we could have had our own fantasy factory.
Yeah. So
Right, is
there's
that
a
what
point
it
in time where I built a lot of
Freedom
DRZ
Factory.
motors. There's some companies out there that basically their whole entire DRZ engine aftermarket program, hot rods, hot cams,
It's based off of everything that you develop.
and then the world's best DRZ pipes are MRD.
MRD Racing, we need to get you one.
So when I approached MRD to help me develop a pipe to replace the titanium Yoshimura pipe, Dave was not building any DRZ pipes. He was building pipes for CRFs and all the motocross bikes, which we've had him on all of our CRF 450 race bikes. He builds so many DRZ pipes now and has over the years that he stopped building exhaust pipes for every other motorcycle except for the DRZ.
And
So he's made a living
for
probably for at least the last decade
yes,
just building DRZ pipes.
and it takes a minute for him to get them to you, but that's because he makes every one of these
They're handmade.
by hand.
Him and his son.
They just sit there and just
they
weld pipes.
They sit there.
Waiting on you to call him.
I'm
and
looking.
just call him.
Call
So-
me.
Who are you gonna call?
And he's so Dave and I go way back. He always takes good care of us. Hooked you up on your
did.
pipe. But that Dave's made a living basically just building DRZ pipes for all that time. So I still build some DRZ motors here and there, but only because I don't really push it. I don't have anything left to prove on the deal.
No. There's a
you know,
video with like 75,000 views of
Yeah.
yours that has proved that it's the world.
The forum deals have kind of gone away. Now it's Facebook groups.
Well, I've YouTubed DRZ stuff, and none of them even still touch
No.
your views.
No.
None of them.
There's people, as far as like power output and stuff goes, people always claim, they're like, oh, my motor makes 60 horsepower.
No,
and
it
there's guys out there that think just because they've made a 462 or a 470 that it automatically just makes all the power. It's not just displacement. Like, I've spent hours and hours and hours just testing lobe centers, degreeing cams on DRZs. Make 2 pulls, shut it off while it's warm, put the degree wheel on it, and move the cam half a degree.
How many
You sit
dyno
there.
runs does that motor of yours have on it?
The motor that's in my 485 motor has like 800 pulls on it or something like that. That one motor.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just it has like 800 or something like that. Seven or 800 pulls just on that one motor.
Could you imagine if we just had a dyno and we could just sit around all day and just make dyno hits?
We could
And
have.
that,
Right.
and that
Could have,
motor-
but somebody just said, dude, I remember watching a guy on one of the forums offer to take you, to fly you, Zach and Joe, and their mom out to South Africa for a month.
Yep.
I watched this guy.
Yep.
He was like, I need you to come out here. I'm going to pay for your trip, housing, and everything for the entire month of like December for you to build a motor for
There
me.
goes my yacht.
People would
There went your yacht.
People would bring me motors, drive across country, bring me motors, and then hang out in Denver for 2 or 3 days while I did the motor, and then pick it up or bring the bike. And
Like what was his name? Erling?
Erling,
Where's he
yeah,
from?
Me and Erling. Erling is I think he's Danish,
But
but he used to live in El Paso.
dude, he makes carbon fiber stuff. He's got like a full carbon fiber DRZ.
He's the one that my MRD exhaust on my 485 has a carbon fiber end cap. It's the only MRD in the world that has
I'm not getting that.
has a carbon fiber end cap.
That's crazy.
And Erling's the one that made that. The valve cover that's on that 485 motor is laser engraved with our logo, and Erling did that as well. So it's a good dude. But yeah,
Sick.
we built some motors. Like I said, the forums, the internet forums have kind of gone by the wayside. It's Facebook groups now.
And,
So
well,
you and I are both in those groups.
The Facebook groups, those guys know a lot. They know that the 3x3 mod is not good.
It's the torque hole.
the torque hole, and that every time somebody on there asks, what's the best pipe for a DRZ, everybody says the FMF.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's nothing against FMF because they make great pipes.
There's guys in the Facebook groups that have been around a long time and know me from the internet forum days, and they get a big kick out of when guys that weren't alive when I started building DRZ motors start telling me how stuff works or tell me about the Eddy mod.
Yeah, you know, have you Googled the Eddy mod?
No, I haven't Googled the Eddy mod, but I will say,
I know the guy.
when we like started the YouTube thing, and I made Britt a hat, a Cisneros Speedworks hat,
Yep.
and she's walking into the Pueblo West Walmart with the girls, and this guy comes up to her, and he's like, "Yo, Cisneros Speedworks, you know Eddie?" And she's like,
That's my cousin.
"Yeah." She's like, "Yeah, that's my husband's cousin." Well, get at him because I need some shit done to the DRZs, or he said something about motorcycle, and I was like, "That is crazy." And that was.
That is
20
so
years?
funny.
You know what I mean? How long has it been since you were that thick in the game?
2010,
Yeah.
2011.
So 14, 15 years
Yep.
ago, and they just came up to her in Pueblo West Walmart. And they're like, yo,
It's like,
it's
listen.
crazy.
I
what you're
randomly get Facebook messages all the time. Are you guys still the same? I'm like, yes and no. And they're like, well, I need my CRF remapped. I'm
Nope.
like, you're asking the wrong dude. You
Yeah.
do not want me to up
I
arrow
still
your
get
shit.
the email. You direct people to
I do. I give them your email and like, you go ask
I'm
him.
still flashing ECUs and stuff. I haven't done any CRF development past like 2015, so I still flash when the fuel injected CRFs came out. I was the only one that was really tuning them to begin with, and so I still flash some ECUs for some. I have a laptop that's an old laptop that's got the software on it that's just barely
Yeah,
hanging in there.
that's all he uses it
if
for.
that-
You still got to plug in the Ethernet cable
Yeah,
and
if
run
that
it.
laptop dies, then
Game
the
over.
CRF flashing is gonna end because it's basically got the software on it and they never updated the drivers or anything. So you'd have to do like a virtual
Like
friggin'
Brent and those
operating
guys
system.
do.
Yeah, it's not worth it. So I still do a handful of those. But yeah, the Facebook groups are funny because the guys will start telling me about DRZ mods, and there's nothing about a DRZ. There's nothing that is new or being discovered. Like there is nothing.
And the stuff that these guys know
And they- yeah.
and that it's because of you.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, I did this. Like they're like coming up with like some like new mod, and I'm like, welcome to 2003, bud. Like we were doing this a long time ago. Like the whole manual cam chain tensioner thing in a DRZ, all that exists because of me. That wasn't even a thing in the dirt bike world until DRZ cam chain tensioners were breaking early on, and then we were using a Hayabusa manual cam chain tensioner. And the crazy thing about the world and the way things have come and things being so common is that it used to cost like $80 in the early 2000s for a manual cam chain tensioner from APE, from MRD Racing. And it's a billet piece of aluminum with a piece of all thread, basically. And now you can buy them on Amazon for like $12. I keep them in stock.
Yeah, well, yeah. Do you get them on Prime?
Yeah, I get them on Prime. I keep them in
Nice.
stock. I keep that. It's just crazy that you can still do that. I mean, and the parts are out there. They are literally, the DRZ is like the small block Chevy of the dirt bike world. There's not a thing that you can get anything for a DRZ. You can go on eBay. There's all the used parts. Shit, you just come to my shop and I built 8 DRZs.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
There's one of them
Yeah.
right there. That was not ever a whole motorcycle to
Nope.
begin with.
Just threw some parts together.
So that right there, that is a brand new 2003 DRZ 400 kicker motor
It's dirty
that
as
I
shit.
parted when DRZs weren't worth any money. Nowadays they're worth some money again, but for a while they weren't very popular. And I parted out a brand new 2003 kicker because it was worth more money parted out than it was whole, and that's the motor from it. And so that motor's got
crazy.
like 5 hours on it.
That's what I'm talking about. I can
Well,
start
the-
it right now if you want me to.
The dealer that I worked at had them left over for years. Like I probably bought that brand new kicker in like 2007. Like they were left, they just had them in the crate still. And so I bought one cheap, and then I rode it around a little bit, and I was like, well, I don't need another DRZ, but I bought it cheap. And so I literally parted it out and got my money back out of it, and I've had the motor.
We could have had everything.
Watch me show up on that tomorrow.
So yeah,
So once the DRZ stuff settled down,
yep.
we quit racing dirt bikes. because we realize we have kids and families and we can't go out there and nerd ourselves because we work. We can't if we
gotta work for a living, buddy.
if we get hurt, yeah, because you didn't ride the DRZ train long enough and you got rid of all the classic cars. We realize that dirt bikes ain't for us no more. I sold my KX in like 2006 or 7 for a ridiculously cheap amount of money, and I kicked myself in the. But that's neither here nor there. So you, for some reason, decided I'm gonna pick me up this desert sand colored Mustang.
Yeah, it's tan on tan.
Yep.
Let's talk about where my Mustang came into this.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how.
Well, apparently you bought it from a guy that bought it from a junkyard.
So, yeah, that's a whole
That's a
story
whole
on
other
its own
video,
now.
right?
Trying to remember what happened. So, I had my middle son. Well, he's not my middle son. My second oldest son. He had little motorcycles, little ATVs, and he had a Suzuki King Quad ATV. And so, I was like, I had a bright ass idea that I was going to sell that and build him a Suzuki Samurai that was called the Cookie Monster. It was Cookie Monster Blue.
It was Cookie Monster. It was the color of your
So
straw.
for Christmas, I built him this thing, and he was at that point in time he was like 10 years old. But I figured, hey, it's just a big ATV. We can go out rock crawling. He can drive this thing because it's a little Samurai. So did that. Spent all the time, all the money building it. Gave it to him for Christmas, and he was like, "What am I going to do with that?" Had zero interest. And if anybody knows Joe doesn't have time for anybody's bullshit.
No.
We're basically interrupting Joe's life.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's his life. You live in it. He's worried about going to work every day and telling people what to do.
Yeah, he's got no time for my bullshit. He's got no time for his mom's bullshit. He's got no time for anybody's
Well, now
stuff.
that he's
doing
adult,
his whole
every
thing.
time I see him, I'm like, "Do you want a beer?" And he's like, "Nope."
Well, and it's funny now because how it is now, like people rarely talk to him.
Yeah.
Because he's just doing his thing. Like, he's just like, I'm doing my thing. But looking back, when he was a toddler, he was like that. Like, he would just give you the side eye, like, don't talk to me, I'm busy. When he was 2, he would do that.
Oh,
so, so anyway, he didn't want anything to do with the Samurai. So sold the Samurai. And I'm like, okay, well, I go, do you want to do like a car thing? He's like, well, maybe or whatever. So I started poking around, and I was on Craigslist and found an 86 Mustang Coupe. It's tan on tan.
Cut coils and a V6.
It was slammed, and it had a 3.8 V6 in it. And it was a pretty decent car. The paint wasn't super great on it. So bought that, straightened it out, did a few things to it.
Put a 351, stock 351 in it.
Put a stock bottom end 351 Windsor in it. It still had the 7.5 rear end, and it had like 270 gear, so it was a turd. Would shift out of first gear going like 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So put a 8.8 in it. I bought a parts car. I bought a Hatch parts car
I remember that.
that had a good title, and then ended up giving that
Better than my
That
title.
one was.
ended up giving that away after I pulled the V8 cross member out of it, and I pulled like the rear end out of it, the V8 springs and that stuff, and so put 373s and a 8.8, put it in that car,
And a little baby shot.
and then immediately killed the transmission. So it was a C5, which is a metric C4. It was a C5 car. Bought a AOD, which, crazy enough, is still the AOD that's in that
Haven't
car.
broke it yet.
Haven't broke it. It's been through a couple different
Overdrive
converters.
still doesn't work, but
I know I don't know why. At some point, we probably, next time we have the motor out and it's apart because it's hurt, we just need to send that transmission to Silver Fox, the guy that made those valve bodies, and just be like, make the overdrive work. We've had it apart. We can't get it.
Yeah.
It worked for a while, but
then
that
again, I
valve
don't drive it
body-
on the highway enough
That
to-
valve body, it's not a mechanical overdrive shift. It's like a 4R70 valve body that the overdrive is on a switch.
Yeah.
And either that, I've tested that solenoid. We don't know why the overdrive doesn't work, and we've never worried about it. But I mean, we've hit that AOD with 1,000 horsepower, and it's still alive. And
it hasn't broke yet.
yeah, and I literally bought that AOD off of Craigslist, unknown. It's never been a part other than a valve body and converters and putting seals in it. Like, it's lived this whole time.
Why is that car white though? Because it used to be tan on tan.
Yeah, You know, most of my problems in life are my kids, right? In case anybody didn't know, I've got 5 children, and there's a 20-year age difference between my youngest and my oldest. But my oldest son, Zach,
Who is now 37 years
yeah,
old.
my oldest son, Zach's 37
He's 37.
years old.
He's a year
Yeah.
younger than us.
Yeah,
I know.
he's basically your guys' age.
You guys are old.
Yeah, me and Zach, we're pretty tight. I mean, we don't talk a lot just because he's an adult and got a family and stuff. But at one point in time, he had moved out, and he's back living with me. And he didn't have a car, so he was driving the Mustang. Like,
Every day to work.
daily driving the Mustang.
351 Windsor with nitrous every day to work.
Yeah. And he had left the house. I lived in Westminster, and he pulled out of the neighborhood, and the car lean popped through the carburetor, which wasn't that unusual back then because I just had too much timing in it or something. But you had to let it warm up. And he got in a hurry, drove it out of the neighborhood, turned the corner, it backfired through the carb, and then the air filter was on fire, and he couldn't get the car relit, and got out and basically caught the hood on fire.
Fiberglass hood.
Caught the fiberglass hood on fire, and basically the car was engulfed in flames. So luckily they saw it, called 911. The fire department came, put the fire out, but by that point it had got probably the forward
From the
80%.
from the front seats
It
forward.
got the interior. It got everything underneath the hood. The fire department came, and Zach told them that there was a nitrous bottle in the trunk, and so they freaked out, and they took a fucking pickaxe to the deck lid to get the deck lid open, and destroyed the deck. The deck lid was perfect. The fire hadn't even got back there, and they took pickaxe to the freaking deck lid and got the deck lid open to get the bottle out
Oh
of the car.
my god.
And I was like, Zach, why didn't you tell him there's nitrous bottle in there? You know, it's like wasn't gonna blow up.
It's not the Fast and Furious. It ain't gonna
And
blow
he got
up.
out. Luckily, Zach was okay. You know, he called me, and again, if anybody, Zach, he's super quiet. He's like his mom. He's super quiet. So he calls me, and I'm like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "Car's on fire." I'm like,
Say that
That's
again.
it. That's
I'm not carbon fiber talk.
Car's on fire? Yeah, car's on fire. And I'm like, well, can you get it out? He's like, yeah, I was past that. He's like, fire departments, I can hear them coming. They're going to get it out. And so I was 20 miles away, went home, and because it was literally around the corner from my house where it happened. And I came flying home, and my ex-wife had walked down there because she had heard something was going on. And so she was standing down there as the fire department was basically like rolling up the hoses on the truck and stuff. And she saw me turn the corner, and she ran because she thought I was going to be mad that the car was on fire, like the car had burned.
Right.
So she saw me and like booked it back to the house. And I'm like, why is she running away? And they're like, oh, she thinks you're going to be irate. And I'm like, was she driving or something? Like, I don't know. Why is she think,
She set
And
it
so
on
I was
fire.
just happy that Zach was okay, And then we were sitting there, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And the fire department's like, at that point, now they're being freaking pricks about it. They're like, well, we're going to call a tow truck. I'm like, no, you guys are not going to tow the car. I'm not paying a tow bill or whatever. I'm going to deal with the car. Well, you've got 10 minutes to deal with this car. So I had to go walk up the street to my house, unload my rock crawler off the flatbed trailer, Lumpy, who's sitting on the side of my house to this day.
Fucking fire right up.
Fire
too.
right
Yeah.
up, purrs like a kitten. Still have that trailer as well. Unload that. Basically hook the trailer up to my truck, go down by the car that's burned, and then go back to my house and get Lumpy and use the winch on Lumpy to drag the car up on the truck. And got it straightened out, took the car to the shop I had, basically left it on the trailer, parked it out behind the shop, and didn't even look at it for like 3 months. I was so disgusted.
Because it was a 4i, so it's an 86, so it was a 4i front end, but now it's an aero front.
Yeah, now it's an air front end. So at the time I had more time.
Excuse me.
So people were like, oh, what are you going to do with this car? You're never going to be able to fix it, blah, blah, blah. And so at that point, if people tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. So set out on fixing that car. So Zach felt really bad that it happened. So he got the job of getting inside the car and pulling all that burned interior out of there. It took us 2 days to get the wiring harness out of the car because the fire had made the copper in the wire soft. So you couldn't just go in there and take a pair of side cutters and just like clip the wire. got smashed through it because the copper was super, it had been annealed and it was super soft. So it took us 2 days to get the wiring house out of the car, got the interior out, took it to the car wash, spent like $50 in the car wash just hosing out the interior, hosing out, trying to get the smoke smell out of it, which to this day, that was, how many years ago did that car burn?
Shit.
15?
Maybe 15.
To this day, on really hot days, you can still smell it
yeah.
in there. But there was no, at that point in time, there was no way I was going to find a good 4-eyed front end. So I was at the junkyard getting some other stuff for it because I decided I was going to fix it. And there was a fresh kill, like an 89 4-cylinder convertible.
Should have just got that car. Should have just got that car.
And it was white with a red interior, but it had the complete front end on it. And I had no money. I basically had to go like beg, borrow, scrape the $199 that the pull and pay charge you for a whole front end. And I got the hood. No, I didn't get the hood. Somebody already robbed the hood, but I got the whole
Fenders,
the
bumper.
fenders, the bumper, all the hardware. And if you know me, you know that I don't play this aftermarket hardware thing. I don't play hardware store hardware. It's got to be like OEM hardware on all stuff, motorcycles, cars, whatever. Got all that. Got that front end, and then there's pictures of it somewhere on Facebook of it.
I'll find it.
It's half tan, burned looking, and it's got a white nose on it. And that started it, and basically started cleaning it. Got the burn motor out of it, which that's not the motor that's in the car now. But we ended up we did fix that motor.
Yeah.
It had a bunch of water,
You sprayed
and foam in it.
I think you sprayed it again, and you lifted another ring. I don't know. There was a couple.
We've lifted some ring lands on small block Fords here and there.
Well,
That's about what's going to happen tomorrow.
And if it does, it does. If it does, it does.
There are no small block Ford ring lands safe around us in nitrous.
No.
Because we'll just keep putting more nitrous and stuff. We don't care. So yeah, that started that. I painted the car. Again, I didn't have a lot of money, so I had saw how people paint tractors with a foam roller, and I was like, whatever, just going to try to do that. My main goal is try to kill the smell, because the car smelled like an ashtray because it had burned.
It's got an air freshener.
It does. You got to have like 3 of them in there.
Yeah.
But I painted it with the Rust-Oleum, white Rust-Oleum, and shockingly,
It's nice.
Still there.
it's still there.
I touch it up.
Yeah.
And painted the inside to try to kill the smell, which it was pretty good. And then slowly but surely started buying parts at the junkyard. And it's got a arrow nose dash in it, but there's nothing underneath it. It's just a dash shell. And it's got a combination of.
Come
The
on,
State
way.
Patrol enjoyed the car when I went by last
He
week.
looked like he was doing race week tech. When
Officer Hanson.
Officer Handsome.
So, yeah.
And I'm just gonna send that video to Matt and just like
You're teched.
tech, bud.
he asked me. He
the
says your
officer
horn
said-
work? Or no. He says it got airbags. My steering wheel comes off. No, it doesn't.
And it's an easy.
It doesn't have airbags. He was super excited, and he was like,
You probably made his day.
Well, the crazy thing is about that car is I think I paid $800 for that car, and it was a running, driving Fox body. Mm-hmm. Those were the days where you could buy
an $800 run.
Yeah.
Dude, now we're running and driving Fox body. Those things are minimum like $3,000.
Yeah, for a ratty.
I sold. We had Bobby. Bobby had 2 Mustangs. He had a coupe that we spray painted black and whatever. It was a 4-cylinder car. The motor was still in it. Had no interior because I thought I was going to build a race car for Bobby. Bobby's just like, I can't do it. He's like, this is an insane amount of money. Let's sell this thing. So I sold it as a roller. It still had the motor in it, but it was junk. I sold it as a roller, non-running, no interior, spray painted for $700. And dudes from like Wyoming rented a trailer.
It had paper, yeah.
It had a title.
Yeah, that's
And they showed up next day. It was $100 bills, and they're like, "Here you go." And I was like, "Well, I'll help you push it on the trailer."
Yeah. And speaking of titles, the crazy thing is your recent experience with the Colorado DMV is just another example of the Colorado DMV. I do not like the Colorado DMV. I've been
No,
my
me
rounds
either.
with them.
And
But we've owned that car for 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
I owned it. It was in my name because you had it for 4, right?
I've had it for 3 years.
So,
Yeah.
so it was in my name for 12 or 13 years.
Renewed the plates every year.
Renewed the plates every year. Never had an issue. Was registered.
I
Transferred in your name. You've been renewing the plates for 3 or 4 years, and then you go down because you don't get your renewal card.
Yeah.
And they tell you that the car shows that it was crushed.
Well, and I have pictures of it in my fucking garage. It's at the track right now on my
Well,
trailer.
I have pictures of it the day I bought it.
Yeah.
I got pictures of it on my trailer. It's sitting backwards on that same
Yeah.
trailer when I bought it
And
at the old shop in
I'm
Longmont.
still waiting for the state to call me back to tell me I can go renew my tags.
I just keep bothering them. Just go down there. Be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Is my shit ready? That's a whole mess.
Oh, we know. I bought with them. We bought a brand new 2013 Escape back in the day, and it had gotten dealer transferred out of a dealer in New Mexico, and somehow or another got reported stolen while it was in New Mexico. And then here we bought it from Silterhar Ford.
And you owned it and paid it
Should
off.
have bought it at Alpine, but Dennis wasn't there in 2013.
Dennis
and
wasn't
so bought it, owned it, done all the things, had registered it for 4 or 5 years. Well, then once I think, we hadn't registered it that long, but we were moving, or I don't remember what was happening. And I asked Nikki, I'm like, hey, have you seen the title to the Escape? And she's like, no, I haven't seen it. So I'm like, oh, we just need to get a duplicate title to the Escape because we lost it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then one time we moved, and so go down to the DMV and being like, hey, we just need to get a title reprinted. And they're like, oh, well, this car's been reported stolen out of New Mexico. And we're like, we've owned it since it was new. How could it be stolen out of New Mexico? So we went round and round Colorado DMV because they're like, well, you need to get a letter from New Mexico that says that it's not been that it wasn't stolen. And I'm like, okay, so call New Mexico. And New Mexico's like, we don't show that it's been stolen in New Mexico.
Yeah.
They're like, it's never been listed by that. So we go back to Colorado, and they're like, well, it does in our system. And we ended up finally had to get a lawyer, and the lawyer basically got a hold of like some management at the DMV and finally got it straightened out. And
Well, I hope I don't have to
It
end
was
up
ridiculous.
down that road. Like the DMV in La Junta, they're like everything's good now. They just had to send it off to the state.
well, they
and
got to see that the VIN's been verified. And
yeah.
so I'm not sure exactly what happened there because the guy I bought it from lived in Golden,
So
and it was in his name.
So the lady at the DMV told me that it had the original title. When they sold it, that junkyard or whatever sold it, they couldn't find it. So they went and got a duplicate, and that's what the guy used when he sold it to you.
So the guy that I got it from, the title was in his name.
Yeah. Well, so he had went and got that duplicate and bought it from that junkyard or whatever, and then got it in his name, and then that's when he sold it to you. But
And then I registered it, no problem.
it pisses me off because all these titles since then should have voided that.
Yeah.
Well, they say right on them. They say right on them that this title voids all
previous
other
titles, yeah.
and then apparently not.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. You'll get it sorted out.
So that's already frustrating me. So
We were just at the DMV the other morning with the Bronco.
Yeah.
nice. Did you guys get plates?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, we did. We
Actually,
saved $300.
No, more than that.
No, that is true.
More than that, because they actually did the right thing, and credits because we bought that other Bronco, the one that got totaled. We bought that in August. Well, I paid all the stuff at the DMV, which was like
it was almost
$700
$800.
worth
Yeah.
of stuff. Well, it didn't even make it 6 months. We go in there and we're like, we already paid taxes on that, so it only cost us like $180 to get the new one registered, which was
I'd
good.
pay that any day.
But only because plus it was going to be cheaper anyway because of the value. Because Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis is the man.
Dennis is the man.
Dennis is over there. He's
eavesdropping.
dude. His podcast dropped last night.
I saw it.
I watched it. It was a good one.
I saw it. I mean, realistically, when I go on Dennis's podcast, that's when I'm going to bring my calculator so we can do some real math.
We'll talk
We
about
touched on it earlier. We touched on some questionable age gap relationships a little earlier. Allegedly, hypothetically.
Well, come to find out, Eddie was not tuning Rachel's junior dragster when they met.
I was 18.
But
allegedly and hypothetically, Dennis.
That's all hypothetical.
This is all hypothetical.
But
all hypothetical.
Taking a break from talking about that stuff. I know I touched base with you guys a little bit about this before, but we finally got our first podcast sponsor.
Oh. What do we got?
Fast Ink Limited, straight out of Pueblo.
Oh, yeah.
He reached out to me and said, "I want to sponsor your next episode," and I said, "I got you."
So it's a hard toss-up. I almost wore my Fast Ink shirt tonight,
but you couldn't pass up the Hayden.
But I couldn't pass up wearing my Hayden Deegan.
So
you've been itching to wear
anybody that
that.
sees me every day of the week, on the weekends, I have my hand-drawn Fast Ink Limited.
Yep.
During the week. Not at work. I don't want to ruin it at work, but I have another Fast Ink hat that I wear as my everyday. That's when I get dirty and stuff like that. So if you guys pull up your phone,
We got plenty of it.
go to f1lapparel.com.
On my phone?
On your phone, man.
Joey's just
So
he's a
Joey-
supporter of motorsports in general.
He is.
Yeah, he
he's
is.
out there.
He's a
been
good
at,
dude.
he's at the Strip Attack or what? He's at the Airstrip Attack.
Yeah,
he
Airstrip
goes
Attack.
to Slush. Joey's also local to Pueblo.
Yep.
He lives on the south side.
Yeah.
OG.
He's at a lot of the Steel City events,
Oh,
whether
yeah.
he's vendoring or hanging out with us.
He's just there in general.
Yeah.
And so f1lapparel.com, people can go there and they can pick up all their Fast Ink Limited
It's true. good stuff.
apparel. You know, he's got Instagram. You can find him on Instagram. He
got a
not
lot
only
of
does he
stuff.
offer shipping, he also offers local pickup. That's not something.
Man,
Did
that's-
Hayden Deegan offer you pickup?
If
No,
only.
but you know what though?
The year 2000.
Balake Bauman? Balake hit me up today before I left work and was
Case
like,
you
"Hey
need
dog,
some
you need
freedom
you need some ammo?"
Yeah.
And I was
Same
like,
thing me.
"I do." So Balake is delivering me
Got
some ammo tomorrow.
Got some
Nice.
freedom seeds.
But yeah, Fast Ink Limited. They stepped up. He's sponsoring this episode
Nice.
Nice.
of the Speedworks podcast.
Shout
So-
out.
Right on.
Fast
Yeah.
Ink.
So
that's
shout out to
what's
Fast
up.
Ink Limited, Joey Garza. You guys can find him on Facebook and
He's a
Instagram,
good dude.
and go to his website f1lapparel.com and pick up a hoodie, a hat,
Shirt.
a T-shirt, a beanie.
They
I
got
think
all
the
the-
beanies
they
are
got
there.
all the
Stickers
things.
Telling the Speedworks crew sent you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he might throw you in another sticker. We're gonna put him on blast and make him
Ah,
send
sucker.
stickers. But
Thanks
yeah,
again, Joey.
thank
Fast
you
Ink
again,
for sure,
Joey,
dude.
for
Appreciate it,
for
bro.
doing this. So
You can find him in the Speedworks hospitality tent most of the time.
True.
most of the time,
Oh yeah.
he's there with Aaron
Yeah.
and Dustin.
Yeah.
on
They
it.
gonna be on too.
But do you test your E85?
I do not test my E85. We're gonna go back to this raw dogging thing. I actually had an attendant at the come and go one time. Saw me
Take
filling
your
up.
mic off, fool. If you're gonna go inside. Oh.
He saw me filling up my jugs with E85, and it's just the random dude that works in the come and go walks by. He's like, "No test tube,"
No, I'm not testing.
No test tube.
and I was like, "No, bud. I got Tommy once. So
Yeah,
he could fit in."
Ed's got me.
So-
Just in case I need to fit in with the Audi boys.
So
Oh my God.
one of my friends last night Snapchatted me, and she said that they got to go to the Fowler gas station to go get E85, and I'm trying to tell her and her husband, no gas stations around here carry E85. And I'm going to tell you right now, the gas station in Fowler, Colorado, of all places,
Yeah.
is going to be like E63.
Yeah.
The only way to get true E85 is to hit up that man right there
Yeah.
and get Renegade fuel at
Unless
Pueblo
you're
Motorsports
doing
Park.
like us, where you're just like, "Cool."
Unless you're just gonna raw dog it.
E67.
This
So-
was E71.
Yeah.
Bro, Elizabeth.
Alta?
Yeah,
E71?
I'm just saying.
It must have been some good shit.
Yeah, I must have just got there after the dump.
It's the whole thing with the E85 thing and people freaking out. If you're gonna run E85, you have to be. You gotta calm down, bud. I know
Easy there, bro.
This E85 is just science for me.
I've got 15 gallons of Hill's Finest in. I got to put it in the Cadillac tomorrow. We're not gonna run the Cadillac tomorrow, but I got to switch her off the pump gas.
I
into
put
the
E85 in my Pro Mod Silverado,
So
by the way.
the thing is, you have to be flex fuel. If you're just trying to just like, I'm gonna tune my car on E85 to E85, you're hosed unless you're running stuff like you're running the Renegade or whatever that is always gonna be exactly that.
Yeah.
You can't rely on it. You're gonna buy it at the pump and it's gonna be anywhere near that. Like if you look at the flex fuel tables, I don't know how it is on the Audi, but you look at the flex fuel table in
Yeah.
the Cadillac, and it from E50 on, the changes is minor, but it sees the alcohol content and alters the timing.
Yep.
You can't just be like, I'm going to tune my car on E85, and if it's not exactly 85, your shit's going to blow up because it's got all the timing in it.
I've
for
been
85.
man,
That's
I've been
great.
trying to tell
That's-
people.
That's ultimate raw dogging right there. Like people,
sure.
those guys, them Subaru guys do that, and those guys is cray. And
Great,
because then they're shocked when the thing knocks the head gaskets out of it. It's like, well, yeah, bud, you got it tuned on exactly E85, and you're putting E67 in, rattled the head gasket right out of the thing.
So I've been trying to tell. So it's Monica and Dusty. Remember Monica?
Oh yeah.
So he's
they
built.
didn't invite me to their wedding.
No, I went and I was really drunk with Lauren's dad,
Oh, okay.
Dave. He's a great guy, by the way. I was really fucked up with him. I threw up That's how you
No,
know.
not
You
you.
fro-
Ron.
you
I
froze
was,
up?
No.
You froed
That's
out.
how you know I'm having a
You were
good
froing?
I was froed up.
Yeah, you
I'm a
were.
fro
But
up.
Get him, Chris.
so he's building a pretty gnarly Eclipse, dude.
Yeah.
Like
That's been for a long time.
it has been for it's and she keeps telling me that they're gonna go get. You guys got. I keep telling her you need to get a flex fuel
Well,
sensor.
she's got her old man Chevelle, right?
She's got her Chevelle. I'm not. It's 71 or 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's built like it's supposed to be a really nasty Eclipse. They were actually in last week to talk to D. They took their Durango for an oil change. So D knows Monica and Dustin too.
You try to sell him one of them expeditions, bud?
Dude, you should have seen.
Yeah.
We saw this freaking Tremor expedition today.
Oh, I saw it over there. I
don't
saw
even want
the
to get
video
into
of it. I saw it on the video.
But I'm trying to tell people that run E85, you need to get a flex fuel sensor
You have to.
because
So if you're so polite with explaining to people that all they need is a sensor, how come you're not in the E85 Colorado chat?
they
anymore?
banned me.
Weird.
Dude, I was in the E85 group
Because
for.
you were throwing gang signs on him.
What?
Well, because I
was.
told him Donovan Leader tunes my E85.
Donovan Leader, he's definitely raw.
But they
dog.
didn't
He-
like
Oh, yeah.
And Donovan
Oh,
don't care.
yeah.
Donovan's like, he don't care.
Hell no.
He'll be like, I'll make 1,000 horsepower on E30. He don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I went to the local Loves down there in La Junta, and I hit the 85 thing. Apparently, it was just 85 octane.
Yeah.
But I told him my tuner Donovan Leader says this is the shit to get,
Yep.
and they kicked me out of the E85 group.
Yeah, I mean, at least once a month I'll be tagging Eddie. Because there was like somebody on Walls where they don't go there. It's E67. Like, shit. That's our jam.
That's our
I'll go to that
And
one.
then there was E91 the other day. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, people that run E85, they need to relax.
They do need to relax.
It's
They need
okay
to-
if you get it.
It's not that serious. It's not
It's
that
not.
serious.
I'm not an E85 guy just because,
Mr. RS3 said I'll lose 10% horsepower
dude, David
if
Veal
I
needs to go home.
if I go below E80.
You gotta remember too, I'm not editing this. Like I'm not cutting nothing out.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing you guys, fuck David Veal,
That's
dude.
what I'm
He
saying.
can watch this podcast and
He never asked for advice from the
12 Second Brothers.
The 12 Second Brothers,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Little I haven't seen his ass in Pueblo since. No.
Shit. Fuck him
That's
and
true,
his t-shirts that say
actually.
Mr. and Mrs. RS3.
Yeah, it's
beat me to
fucking
it.
gay.
He beat me to it. I almost had me and Britt with Mr. and Mrs. RS3.
Oh my god.
God, dude, that guy can go get bent. That one time he was trying to tell Chris Phillips about his axle, his
Oh
toothpick
my
axle.
Oh yeah, the
God.
toothpicks
Yeah.
on the axles.
Yeah. Get the fuck
I haven't
out
seen
of
that
here.
guy around. He's I think he's kind of deleted himself from.
Well, he had that one
Well,
friend that had the
it's
R8 that was
wise.
hanging out with. Remember Bob, the guy that was dating Brenna or whatever.
Yeah, Bob Luke.
Oh
green
yeah,
one?
yeah,
Remember Bob
yeah.
had-
The Asian dude.
Well, we ran into that guy at Vandermeer. The guy with the R8, we actually ran into him at Vandermeer, and we chatted with him one night on
Yeah.
Wednesday night. And then we were having a party because my daughter was dating this other dude that was he had like.
So, well, Bob waited until 11:59:59. Well, that's our next.
for sure. Oh, for sure. There's some.
Oh yeah.
Bob was well into the military, and it must be a pattern. But he freaking waited 11:59:59 for Brenna to turn 18, and he was like, "Can I come to your guys' barbecue?"
Well, and it was funny because I think that he thought that she was just kidding about her dad being a car guy, and so he showed up, and then he brought the R8 guy with him, and
Which
the
I
R8
wasn't
And the
impressed.
R8 guy's like, "Oh," he's like, "What's up, man?" And then so old Bob Lou was like, "Oh shit, you weren't
Yeah.
kidding your dad."
and I asked him if he wanted to get gapped by a caddy,
Yeah.
and he would no.
That's when we went, right?
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
guys already left.
Yeah.
But you guys saw.
We saw it.
that
Yeah.
R8. But yeah, Bob. Not my Bobby though. I love my Bobby.
It's different.
Bobby
It's
said he's going to
different.
test the theory out if I would take a paintball for him.
Yeah, you talked about that.
Not
You would.
not a real bullet though. Maybe.
No.
But
Yeah, people are just a little serious about the E85. That's okay, let them. People just take. I think the problem with like the drag racing scene in general is there's such a small percentage of people that are ever going to make money or make that a career.
yeah.
And people, there's guys out there that, we make fun of them and it's all in good fun. Some of these bracket race guys are out there running 13 nines and with a big tire Nova. And they're out there with the air pressure.
It's
They're
for
out there.
sale, by the way.
loud.
Yeah.
It's for sale, by the way.
Wasn't hypothetically it could be a big it could be a big tire El Camino or something. But if your air pressure gauge looks like your Flavor Flav and it should be hanging around your neck, and your air pressure gauge is big,
Yeah.
so you can get down to the 10th of the psi, and your car runs friggin' 14s, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
Them bracket
Yeah.
racers.
You need to calm down. Like,
Oh my God.
you have a lot more fun if you just be like, cool, I'm gonna just like.
If you just
run
raw
my-
dog
if you
it.
just run my
Yeah.
car.
Raw
Just
dog
try
it.
the car. Just
YOLO.
have a good time. Be happy you're at the track. That was a big thing for us.
Would
We
you
had
tell
that-
me when you said the second we start taking this serious, we're not going to have
That's
fun
it.
no more?
Because you got to
Right.
have fun. If you're
Yeah.
not having fun
That's
doing
it.
it, you shouldn't be doing it because
Right.
you're just going to get worn out. You're just going to be resentful of stuff. You're going to be like, if you're going to get to the point where you hate racing your car.
Right.
And if you hate
it's-
racing your car, you
yeah.
shouldn't do it. You're just wasting your money.
Stresses you out.
And you're never going to make money racing a car.
The
It's like thinking that you played little league football and you're going to go to the NFL. How many kids actually do that?
Right.
Very
Or if we start
Well,
rapping.
our cousin's
I
going
bet
to-
our
Primo,
you have one cousin
Primo,
that actually
Primo,
did that.
Primo, I supported you the whole time, and you were in Oregon.
I
Primo.
did too.
Primo's going to the NFL. He's going,
No,
dude.
he's for
He
sure
is.
going to the
Dude,
NFL.
I can. Oh man, I told his mom, Terrence Ferguson, by the way, Oregon Ducks. He's gonna get drafted. He was the #1 tight end at the Columbine.
Combine.
Whatever.
It's not Combine, it's Combine.
Whatever. Did I still support your Preems?
He's
I
like,
got one jersey.
I forget what the statistic was, but like of tight ends of all time at the Combine, he's in the top 20 of
Yeah.
tight ends of all time.
Yeah. What?
One of the greatest.
I don't
in
know
Oregon.
how we didn't get this athletic ability.
Well,
He's a
height.
fucking beast,
I
dude.
know.
Oh yeah,
Dude, he's a.
that kid's. They
my
were
dog.
big. I saw Don and the whole gaggle of kids at the McDonald's at Santa Fe and Bellevue, like when they were like little.
Yeah.
And he was a beast.
What is he? He's 6'5",
That dude's a
250?
monster.
He's
bud.
big. He's a
Dude,
big dude.
dude, if he goes to the Broncos,
I know,
well,
I
he's
know.
already had meetings with the owners and shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Wherever
dope.
he goes to an NFL team,
It doesn't matter.
Dawn and her husband have nothing but to be proud of.
Oh, for
whatever.
sure.
Don't care where
Right.
he goes.
Yeah.
You know how many people make it to the NFL?
Shit.
Not very many.
Yeah.
Not very many. If
And
I
to
don't
be
care
on
where
that
he
level
goes.
of playing?
I don't care where he goes. Wherever he goes, I'm hitting up our boy Kenny Chavez because he gets jerseys. I'm
you're
getting
gonna
it.
get a
I don't.
Ferguson jersey?
I don't care.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
probably all. I don't even watch football. I'm not a football guy.
Yeah.
And like I've been following it because I'm like cool. You know. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where the Cisneros line was drawn where we didn't get athletic
I
ability.
can't tell you the last time I watched a football game, like at all, let alone a Bronco game.
Yeah.
But wherever he goes to play, I'll be watching.
Fucking A.
I seen him in Michigan.
This guy, don't even start with that.
I
But
did.
good for them. Super
I'm
happy.
super
for them.
happy. I
Sure,
can't wait
super
for him to
stoked
go.
for them. Super
Dude,
stoked for them.
he's gonna go to the NFL, and I'm so excited. Wherever he goes, I'm getting a jersey. I got his Oregon jersey. I made sure it wasn't bootleg
So we
either.
went
I
to
let him
that,
get
we
that
went
money.
to the NFL, and then before that, we were talking about E85 and people being too serious about drag racing.
What's next?
So you gotta calm down a little bit.
They
And
need
just be
to
happy.
Reel
relax
it
with the
in.
85.
And just
Reel
have
it
fun.
in.
Come hang out with us in the pits and have fun.
Oh,
That's all it is.
and-
Our pit is one of the liveliest places to be.
It's true.
I don't
Have
take
fun,
this
go
shit
down.
this
We decided last year that we decided we were gonna chop the tree down on Joe Barry. So we jumped 50% of the time at the races. Trying
That's
to,
It's so
because
fun though.
but we were having fun because we wanted Joey Barry
Yeah.
to be looking at the tape, sweating, trying to call whether or not it was a tire crack or not.
Yeah.
I
That
didn't
was
crack
our
shit.
life
I'm a
goal.
trip zip.
And I
pit.
was just like, I wanted Joey Barry to be like, you can't. That was trip zip.
I will-
I need Joey to tell me it was trip zip.
So when I
In the duck outfit.
when I raced
Yeah.
Joey when I raced Joey Anton, I left so early.
No, I don't think so.
I was past Joe Barry before the light.
He was looking at you.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
He
you
was
guys
like-
made
he was
like yeah.
Joe was
I
like-
thought it was right on the money.
He thought your foot slipped off the brake.
I left.
No,
so
you were just
early.
ready.
I said, "This is the only way that I'm gonna get to the end of the track before Joey Anton
'Cause he
is if
looked
I
at me-
leave 3 seconds
Because he looked at
before
me and
him."
he's like, "Does he foot brake that car?" I'm like, "Joe, that car ain't got no trans brake, bud. Of course he's foot braking it. You foot brake everybody out here."
We do have the funnest pit though.
We do.
We're having
We
We
found
do.
2 new gyms. I didn't remember that he showed up, and I was like, "Yeah, he's
The
talking."
twin,
yeah, your
remember
new
the twin? He
friends,
was just
yeah.
sitting there next to you, and you were like talking to him, and then
No.
I was
Tommy.
like, "Oh, shit, you're a twin?"
No, you were like, "Who are you here with?" And he was like, "Nobody." And you were like, "Oh, we thought you." He just
Yeah.
came and just hung out with us.
Yeah.
Oh, Alan, he texts you all the time.
all the time.
I got him. The Jensen.
But we're just having fun. We're just there to have
Oh,
fun.
man.
It's not. People are just taking stuff way too serious. They get all wound up because people get like offended that we're having a good time.
because
Right.
we're not taking it that
Like we
serious.
shouldn't
People are
be,
talking,
yeah.
talking game on the internet, but then when it comes to we're in person, then all of a sudden either they want to be our best friend or they don't want to talk to us.
Yeah.
We're an acquired taste.
We're acquired taste.
Every-
That happens.
We're the
Nobody
best.
likes us, but they seem to like
No,
us in
that's
person.
not true. People either love us
Yeah.
or they want nothing to do with us.
Yeah. There's,
Well, you right.
yeah.
You right.
We look a little rough.
I got
Look at
face
the-
tattoos now. Like as you call them,
We're
the career
very
ending.
approachable.
You got the career ender. You got the career
You
ender.
got head on your head. Why
Yeah,
can't I?
yeah,
she can
no.
put her- she can
I
put
can
her
put
hair
my hair
next
down.
one, my next tattoo, I'm either going to get one on this side.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you ever want a face tattoo, they don't hurt like you think.
Okay, neither does the fucking head.
No, well,
I'm
so the
lying
next
to
one I want
you.
to get, well, it's going to be on this side, but it's a neck that it's going to go up to the back of my head.
Yeah.
It's
Just don't
gonna
know yet.
Feel good.
Oh, I can't wait.
Ooh-wee.
Chris Rail, by the way, shout out, hype team.
Anyways.
He's our cousin too.
He's our primo. We got a lot of primos.
Shit.
We, believe it or not, we got a lot of cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
it's shocking to people to know that.
They think that there's only the 3 or 4.
Well, the one time we raced the car out Street Outlaws, or was that Family Feud? Which one did we show up to? In the like,
think
we
it was
had
Family
like we had
Feud.
like 10
It was
sisters. 10
everywhere.
sisters.
It was
I think
a-
it was
feud,
we
wasn't it?
rolled
No.
deep into that one.
Maybe it was a family feud, but it was us
was-
3 in our individual cars.
Yep.
And then
Tom.
Thomas,
Joey's
Joyce.
cousin.
and then his mom.
His mom.
Yeah.
Yep. There was 5 of us.
And yeah, there was.
But then at the track, because Uncle Rich was still alive, so
There was
he was
still
there.
Amanda
And our
the
sister was there?
kids.
Our sister was
Yeah.
there.
People don't
Yeah,
know that
I
we
was
got a
there.
sister, and I texted her the other day, and she.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we
everybody
got a
was
sister,
there.
and people might not understand that. Me and you. I can get a little riled up sometimes.
I was like,
What?
You're kidding me.
I
You
can,
all riled up before we
That's
started this shit because this
crazy.
thing wouldn't close.
I can get riled, but our sister is the one that people need.
People are afraid. People want to be afraid of me, and I'm like, you don't need to be afraid of me. You need to be afraid of our sister.
But and,
Sister-
and, well, that
sister
brings me
cousin.
to another thing too. Is you're pretty up there in age. How old are you going to be this year?
I'm going to be 50 in July.
I'm knocking on the door of 30, and for whatever reason,
Knocking
or
on the
40,
door.
40,
Fuck
40, my bad, 40.
Oh my god.
I wish we were talking at a door on 30.
You've been had gray hair since you were
Damn.
23.
I know.
But
Yeah, I'm knocking on the door.
but I've noticed that like the way people act on the internet is crazy because I don't ever see them get loud with you or you on the internet. I see that they get like that with me, and I don't know if it's because they think that I'm going to be the one that doesn't punch them in the face. But at the end of the day, I'm probably going to be the first one out of the 3 of us.
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to fight or whatever. But
I don't.
it
But I
happens.
don't like when people talk sideways, especially at the
Let 'em-
last Steel
let 'em
City.
talk.
He's made some regrettable choices. I mean, that guy that freaking wrecked me off my motorcycle a couple years ago, he regretted that.
Yeah.
When him and his boy tried to jump you?
Yeah, well, they did jump me, but it turned into them crying
Yeah.
on the ground. Get off me, bro! You know, so-
Fucking man bun.
Dude, I was
shit.
when I saw that you were run off your bike, and I was furious, and I called you. Did I or did I not tell you? Give me 2.5 hours. I'll be at your fucking
Yeah.
house, and I'll kick a door
That
in.
wasn't gonna. that
I
wasn't
don't
gonna
give
help me.
a fuck.
That idea wasn't gonna. Help
But-
but you know,
So how good are you at math?
we talked about some math earlier, and to follow back up on that, all I'm saying is it goes back to the drag racing community's a real close knit community.
Yeah, it is.
We know a lot
Sing
of
it,
things.
baby.
So, some things might happen. Allegedly,
People might get close
people might get close, but
and friendly.
I'm just saying that if
Race week?
you're
Anytime.
tuning on somebody's junior dragster carburetor
You're tuning on there.
and you're already a full-on adult, and then later on in life, it ends up turning into something else. It just looks a little suspect.
It does. I mean,
That's hypothetical,
Hypothetical.
Cupid come in many forms.
Hypothetical.
and then I see some posts that
C's.
I see word.
though. No.
I see some posts that she makes sometimes, and they're
Hypothetical
hypothetically borderline very childish, like not like she's acting crazy, but like
No, like she's
she's
still
just like, oh my god, you know what I mean? And I'm like,
Still
and
a
I'm
young
sitting there
child.
like,
It's whatever people floats their boat. I let them be. It's just
so I posted a thing a while.
people see.
I posted a thing a while back about when you share your drama on Facebook. I screenshot it and share it with my cousins.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
love that
That
one.
was a good one.
So, without going too far into detail, how's our group chat, even with Dennis? Dude, our group chat fucking
Our group chat's fire. Our group chat is
like I want to add more people, but then I don't.
No.
But
I
I'll,
screenshot once a week.
So Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. He sends me things. I was gonna send you one the other day about we'll talk about it.
I
later.
have no more prayers for 2025.
So Tommy's out of prayers because he gave them all up, but
Gave up all the thoughts and
because
prayers.
people were, they needed places to live and nobody loved them anymore. But then the next week, it was the love of their life.
I budgeted at least 2 a month, and I
And
went
then-
through 24 in January.
And then
So I'm done for 2025.
That just goes. It's the drag racing community is pretty small, so we know everybody's business. I mean, it's just.
I definitely. And then you go and have I feel like that was a pretty serious surgery.
I had a major organ removed.
And they
I ain't got no prayers.
Ain't
Nobody prayed for
I
me.
didn't. In my defense, I didn't know you were having surgery.
Neither did
did give
I. I
you
would
some
have given
thoughts.
you a couple prayers.
I
At
just
least
sent
two.
I just sent you a bouquet.
Yeah.
So
tell you what.
he didn't take his phone to obviously because why? Because what were you gonna do?
Yeah.
Right.
So Brittany was texting me, and she was like, "Tommy wanted me to give you." I said, "Fuck
I told her,
it."
I said, give me one of them when I go in there.
And then I
what's
said,
up.
when,
Just in case.
when he gets out, he could fucking have one of
And
them.
she told me, he told me to give me one of them back.
I did.
I got to the hospital at 5:30 in Springs, and I was home by 12:30. And they
Damn.
removed it from that in that amount of time.
It was a drive-through.
It basically, but they did say they found a gallstone the size almost of a quarter, and if that would have got stuck in my bile duct, that could have killed me.
Oh God.
No shit,
Yeah.
dude.
So
You ever had any major surgeries or surgeries at all?
Yeah, but nothing. Not like organs removed and stuff.
No,
Like
no.
a
I just had
pin in my wrist and.
I had a wiener surgery. They went in there and busted up some.
I was
kidneys
gonna say it's because you're a dick.
oh, Graham said you ain't shit.
I know.
She
Brittany's
eats them
grandma-
stones for breakfast.
I go, Britt's grandma has bad kidney stones too, and she told me I was
Told you you were a punk.
She did.
because I was
She
over
was
here
10
centimeters.
centimeters. That ain't sure. What was it?
6 centimeters.
6 inches was
millimeters or something.
Okay,
That was
now that we've outed everybody's hypothetical business on the internet,
What's our plan for 2025? Mine and yours. Mine is up in the air because you're just gonna bail on me.
Ooh,
we're
Ouch.
just gonna go there.
damn.
I just
Really?
put it out there.
Gonna go there.
Really?
You're just bailing on me, dude.
We're not really bailing.
So,
we're not going
50
that
years
far.
that you have been here for me.
50 years. In my
Give me
life.
another beer.
There it
in a
is.
minute.
50
50 years.
of-
You gonna
30,
cry in the car.
38 years.
Yeah, I was gonna
No,
say
not yet.
let's get it straight.
Like, yeah, like, that
there
didn't
was no
even
Sal
start
for the
off.
first- for the first 12 years of my life.
And
there
then
was no Sal.
when I turned 38, you're just like, I've had enough of this fucking dude, and I'm
For
out.
the record, it's not that I've had enough of you.
You are a lot,
It's the
though.
for the record, I've had enough of the nonsense in Colorado.
Yeah.
This place sucks, dude.
That
It
brings,
does,
that brings
yeah.
us to that topic.
I mean, I love my state. I love where I live. I love my community, the people that are
But-
around me. A handful of guys I work with. But other than that, dude, outside of like my racing family, I fucking hate this place. I love Mike, and
You're
one
not
reason
even, you're not even really that exposed to it because
No.
you're down there in the valley. You should. The nonsense in Denver is completely out. of
Yeah, it's
and
ridiculous.
if I love my children, my girls, and they're the only one of the main reasons that and my wife's career because she has a very good
absolutely.
career. If it wasn't for them, I'd be hiding in the trailer on the way with you guys because I'm so sick of this place.
People probably don't even know what we're talking about.
Where are you going? Why are you just gonna fucking up and leave me, dude?
So we got the phone call before we came down here today that we are cleared to close on April 25th, and we have purchased a home in Topeka, Kansas. So, we're not going to just disappear from Colorado immediately. Sal
there's a lot of
Sal
motorcycles.
can, yeah, there's a lot of motorcycles, there's a lot of stuff. Sal can, in this podcast, before, when he edits it, he can drop you can drop some screenshots in of our beautiful home. We bought in Topeka.
Dude, they got a fireplace in their bathroom.
Yeah.
Bro, the
The house
yard
is
is
way-
bigger than the cul-de-sac.
The house, yes. So we've calculated where we live in Arvada, our plot of land where we've got all this stuff. And we have a nice house in Arvada.
Yeah.
You got a beautiful home in
It's
our
a good
And
neighborhood.
we
Yeah.
moved there because we wanted our kids to go to nice schools. Turns out Jefferson County School District is
Joke's
not that
on
great.
us.
It's a joke. But we moved there. We would have never paid that much money for a house if it wasn't for the kids. And so we did that for the kids. And for the amount of money that house cost, we could have bought, way bigger. We could have bought an industrial park,
Yeah.
basically. But now our youngest son is going to be a senior next year. And so there's really no reason
Yeah.
to have a house that's worth that much money living on a cul-de-sac in Arvada on 0.12 of an acre. So we've purchased a house in Topeka that is basically a freshly remodeled house. Sal can drop some screenshots in there. Don't
gorgeous.
give people my address. I don't want you fools coming over there bothering me.
Yeah,
Oh no! Wait until we show up in Kansas City. I'm gonna be like,
We're
yo,
gonna
dog,
have the podcast in the bathroom.
But yes, you could have the podcast
You
in the
could.
bathroom, in one of the bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
But
Yeah.
the house is on 1.1 acres. It's just on basically on the west side of Topeka. It's got plenty of room. It's got a 3-car garage now, which is like oversized 3-car garage. But we are going to build the biggest building we can, which we're still in the planning stages of that. But if we were to build it to where they say the specs are, because it's not in the city limits of Topeka, it's governed by the county. It only has to be 5 feet away from the rear and the side property line, which by my math, I could build a 7,500 square foot shop.
is it gonna have an upstairs?
It will have an upstairs.
Are we gonna have room for an airport?
Yeah. So funny enough that we actually looked at a house. This has been going on for a while because Nikki got a job in Topeka a year ago and decided she loved it there. And so we've all along, I shouldn't say all along, within the last 5 years, we've decided that we didn't want to retire retire again. I've retired once already. But, we didn't want to grow old in Denver, and we definitely didn't want to be old and retired and have a mortgage. Because you basically work your butt off your whole life to basically pay to live in a house. Mm-hmm. And we want to be old, be able to enjoy our time and not worry about paying for a mortgage. So what's gone on is we've bought this house in Topeka. For the equity that I have in my house in Arvada, I could buy 3 of these houses in Topeka. And when Sal puts the pictures of it up, everybody will agree. We're gonna be uppity Mexicans now.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be great.
Ain't no German Shepherds biting our ass in Topeka.
Yeah, this house is way too nice for me, but because it's not in Denver,
It's
the house
acceptable.
prices are not crazy.
Right.
Crazy ridiculous.
Dude, it's
So
that's
yeah. So for basically a quarter of what my house is worth in Arvada, we bought this house
Yeah.
in Topeka.
Super
So
exciting.
the plan is that for at least a year we're going to own both houses. And the house in Arvada, we're going to start moving. We're going to start moving stuff to Topeka. I would like to continue to work where I work. I like my job. I like what we do. I oversee production of a high-end custom van company.
Van Life Customs
Van
on
Life Customs.
Instagram.
Van Life Customs on Instagram.
Get at 'em.
We build. It's like high-end custom home. Like.
Did you guys build the one for Cletus? The one that he just
No,
gave?
Oh,
no.
God.
No, that's more of like a
Luxury?
passenger luxury van. We build adventure vans.
Ones
So you
with
can live in
beds
them.
and bath and
Yeah.
toilets and sinks. And
Beds
And
and brewery vans.
they got lift kits on them and roof racks and bumpers and all that stuff. So, and I like working there. My issue is not that I love Colorado, and I'm a Colorado native. We all are Colorado natives. I love the state of Colorado, and if you'd have told me 10 years ago that I was going to consider leaving
Right.
Colorado or not live in Colorado, I'd have told you you're crazy.
Yep.
But the state has changed so much in that time that I just can't see growing old here. Plus, we're going to take advantage of the fact of the property values are through the roof, and so
sure.
we're going to own the house in Arvada for another year at least, and that's guaranteed because I have rented out the main floor of my house, the upper 3 bedrooms. Our current house is 5 bedrooms and it has a finished basement and 3 bedrooms upstairs. So I've rented out the upstairs of my house, and it's a year lease. So that's guaranteed a year that's going to be there, and so that's going to give us a year to. We're going to be moving trailer loads of stuff to Topeka. At a minimum, I'm going to be there for, depending on what happens to my job, have to have a discussion with them. I know that they would like me to keep working there, and I would like to keep working there, but it has to make sense for both of us. At a minimum, they're going to get. Van Life Customs has treated me phenomenally. Never had a bad conversation with my bosses. They hired me there 3 years ago to do the purchasing and the inventory. I kept my mouth shut for like a year and just minded my own business. And
Then that
just
escalated.
spent
Yeah.
some money. And like everything,
They
in
found
their
out he
work,
was smart.
they figured out that I knew how to do more than just spend money on a credit card every day. And that's escalated into me doing what I'm doing, which is I'm number 3 there. So there's the owner, and there's general manager, and then there's me. And I would like to.
They hiring?
They are hiring all the time.
Well, I
wanna
mean,
move
you
to
guys
Denver,
got
you get hired.
you guys got to
all
give
the
me
time.
at least.
Yeah, in Denver.
So
Nah, maybe not.
I would like to keep working there, but a minimum, because they've been good to me. They've treated me well. I'm going to give them a minimum, no matter what happens. I'm going to give them a minimum 90 days notice, no matter what happens. I'm confident we're going to come to an agreement, and that I'm going to continue working there. So that means for the last year, Nikki's been going back and forth to Topeka. We've been going back and forth some too, but she's been going back and forth, and she's the one that's been living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Topeka because the company she went to work for basically paid her rent for a year.
Man, that's cool.
So when that lease in her apartment was coming up, and so after she'd been there for about 3 months, she's like, I love it here. I think this is where we need to be. I can do what I need to do in my old age in any Midwest town.
Yeah.
I'm good in Tulsa. I'm good in Oklahoma City. Topeka's about as far north as we want to be because we didn't want to be any colder than we are.
Dude, it's going to be cold.
It's not bad. It's not bad. She's been through the winter. But we definitely didn't want to be in, there was one point where we might be in Omaha, and I'm like, Omaha's a little far north. So we're good. There's, we counted, there's like 15 tracks within a 4-hour radius.
There's so many.
It's still within a plenty close reach. We're still going to race at Pueblo Motorsports Park. I can't promise that for 2026 that we'll be at all the Steel Cities.
Right.
But we'll be here for at least some of them.
Yeah.
We know that 2026, it sounds like Great Bend's going to be back open. So that's
we'll meet you there.
Kind of a halfway point for us, so you guys can come there. Depends on what the race weeks do, but we're still going to be in Colorado racing. It's plenty close to drive to. People drive. It's 8 hour. It's an 8-hour drive to Topeka with traffic. People drive twice that. Donnie just had his podcast last night with the Antons talking about they drove 30 hours.
30 hours.
Yeah.
One way.
Shit's crazy.
So it's still plenty close to come racing. I'm still going to come racing, but basically over the next year, we're going to start transitioning the stuff out to Topeka.
Well,
I need the room. We've got 10 cars.
how many motorcycles you got?
There is like 14 motorcycles,
Yeah.
I think. you're saying.
And a nitrous GS.
So a couple housekeeping items though. Number one, can we ride out there?
So it's on an acre. Depending on how big the building is, we can definitely ride. But Topeka itself has its own off-road area.
That's good.
That's like in town.
So refills at Applebee's.
They have those.
They have it.
Yes.
In the restaurants out there, like the Applebee's here is a fairly big Applebee's in Pueblo. You could fit like 4 of those in
They're
the Applebee's.
so
All
big.
the
And
restaurants
the
are
parking
massive.
lots.
All
The
right.
parking lots
And
are
I
huge.
hear there's-
Everything's very spread out.
I hear you
It's
got
so
a couple
nice.
Long John Silvers.
There's
Just
2
a
Long
few.
John Silvers.
Haven't
Okay.
had that since I was a
All
little
right.
kid.
Yeah,
Good.
so there's 2 Long John Silvers,
fucks
which
with
was a
that.
critical
Yep.
choice in that because I love me some
You
hush
need it.
puppies.
You're like the only one that keeps Long John Silvers.
Yeah.
I love that shit, and not the seafood. I eat the chicken.
No,
The
yeah.
chicken's delicious. So yeah, we're gonna transition out there next year. It sounds like Rachel and Amy are both going.
Yep.
Sounds like they're shooting for
August.
end of July,
Yeah.
early August to be moved out there full time. But meanwhile, between now and then,
It's gonna be a lot of.
Tanner, our opinion was that Tanner needed to finish high school in Colorado because he's basically almost done with his junior year. He's going to be a senior. He went to Topeka, fell in love with it, loved it, and we made a deal with him that if he went this whole year without me getting a call from the school, having to remind him about his homework,
Or having to wake him up.
to go to school,
Yeah.
having to hassle him about his grades or anything, that we would let him do his senior year in
So,
Topeka.
he's
And
done-
he's nailed it.
He's done
His
good.
grades have all been good. He's been working his butt off.
Proves that he knows what to do.
Right,
Sucker.
So he gets out of school the week before Memorial Day. So we're gonna not move him on Memorial Day weekend because there's a Steel City no prep. So we're gonna be here for
Priorities.
Yeah,
priorities.
yeah.
We race.
Yeah.
We know prep.
Yeah.
We know prep. Let's
Come
get
on
that
now.
out that we know prep. So that's
And
what we
pre-
do.
and prep too.
We support that Steel City no prep.
and
We've been to all of them from the beginning, and
Yeah.
we're going to continue to represent there. But for sure, we have a Google Calendar that's just based on our Topeka moving situation.
True.
And in there is every Steel
Races.
City no prep that I
Yeah.
will be at those for this year.
Yeah.
So I can't, like I said, I don't know about 2026, but for 2025, we're going to be at all of them.
Yep.
I
But
just have one question.
yes,
So you're moving when?
Augustish.
So you're gonna be the last Steel City races? Or
She's going to come for, even if she's
Oh,
moved out there,
I'll
she's going
still
to
come back for that. Yeah.
It's a 20-minute flight.
It's a-
She'll be
it's a-
here.
Right. No.
How
I'll still
selfish
go.
you are, Donnie. You're just like, who's gonna run
So
grocery
the
getter?
thing, so the thing you got
I'm
is,
just saying, I think if
No,
she went the
I'll-
whole season, because I can't remember when my dates. There's so many of them.
so no matter what, even
Yeah,
though
no,
that
I'll
she's,
still-
Right.
September.
we're going to be,
Still
we're
gonna
going to
be
be
there.
there. So you got to
yeah.
remember that
He's gonna pick me up from the airport.
You can get
know what
you
I'm
can get a
saying?
round trip. We've been flying back and forth to Topeka. There's been a lot of airfare going on. We don't fly to Topeka. We fly to Kansas City and then drive to Topeka.
Yeah.
You can fly round trip with a rental car in and out of Topeka for 2 people for less than $300, or in and out of Kansas City.
See, we ain't driving, fool.
So
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm
even
not
if
driving.
even when Rachel's moved to Topeka and if I'm still here working,
I'll be coming
I'll
back.
just pick her up at DIA and then we're gonna go to the races.
Priorities.
So for 2025, we know that we're gonna be at the races.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta let us know when you guys get settled
Yeah.
or whatever.
It's
and
gonna
then
be-
We're gonna
we'll-
come
we'll
crash
roll
your
out.
town.
Oh,
It's gonna be a little
absolutely.
bit because we have a lot of shit.
Right.
So, like I said, the weekend after Memorial Day,
Tanner's the first to go.
the Friday, Tanner's got to go to his grandma's and get his hope chest.
Because it's grandma's request.
Yep.
His grandma's requested. He
Has
comes
to
get
go
his
with
hope
Tanner.
chest. So he's driving his S10 to grandma's, which is half a mile from where we live in Arvada, and picking up his hope chest and then bringing his S10 back to the house. And we're driving it into my enclosed. We're going to take the Cadillac out and drive the S10 into the trailer and put all of his electronics in the front seat of the truck and all of his crap in the back of the truck. And I'm throwing him in the. Oh, we're going to take my buddy's Harley
Yeah,
to Topeka because
yeah.
it's in my garage currently, and he's in Topeka. So we're taking his Harley in front of the S10, and Tanner and I
fill her
are
up.
going to have a dad-son drive to Topeka.
Oh,
and
that's
Rachel's
gonna be-
flying. She's going to fly.
Oh yeah, she's probably you're already over the. Have you driven out there yet?
No,
No, she's not made to drive yet.
Not yet.
No, I
Well,
don't-
I'm flying out there to drive back with him.
Well,
so
can't
he's
I
not
70
alone.
once and roll?
It's an easy drive.
It's
Like,
fine.
Yeah.
You stop in Hayes, get some gas and some food, and then you drive again.
Right.
Go out there. We gotta drive once. at
Right,
least.
The
right.
roads
We
are,
will,
the
we
roads
will,
are
we will.
nice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move Tanner out there, and then past that, at least once a month, we're gonna take a trailer load of stuff
Yeah.
out there, and then we're gonna move you guys, and then basically we have a year.
Yeah.
that
We're in no
We're
hurry.
planning on spreading the moving
exciting,
stuff
but
out.
we're in no
the
hurry.
Cadillac is going to be the last thing that moves to
You can
Topeka. when
store it
it
in my
goes.
house if you need to.
It's going to be in the garage in Arvada.
Oh, well, I'm
Yeah,
just saying. I'm just
okay.
And
putting it out
then
there.
when the final move time comes, basically we're going to drive to Denver, going to get the Cadillac. We're going to base that around a race at Pueblo Motorsports Park, and we're going to pick up the Cadillac. We're going to come down here and race, and then when we go back,
Yeah.
to Topeka, we're going to go the southern route and skip Denver
Go through La Hunt and everything.
and go and do that. But that may be the end of this year. That may be into 2026. I mean, after I'm renting the house out. I would never rent it to people that I don't know.
Yeah.
We are very proud of our home in Arvada. We've lived there for over a decade. We've taken care of it. We've made improvements. I wasn't just going to rent it to somebody that I didn't know, that I
Yeah.
didn't trust that it was going to get. We know that the 2 guys that we're renting the house to, we know that if they choose not to stay past a year or renew the lease, that we know the house will be
It'll be how
no
they
worse
got it.
than it is.
Yeah.
No worse for wear, which is a nice house
Right.
now. It will be like it is because these guys work a lot. They have their own business. They are not going to just be there wearing out the house laying there.
Yeah.
And they're at the point in life where they know
They'd
they
be
need to buy
working a
homes,
lot.
but they're busy and they're putting all their money into the business so they can afford the rent in my house in Arvada. So I'm going to rent them out the upper floor. And also that makes it so that, and they're totally cool with basically me, if I stay working
Yeah,
in
existing
where I'm working,
there.
we may keep the house longer than a year or whatever. But they understand that I'm going to be the weird guy living in the basement that works and sleeps. And the basement is fully finished, so we've got that. And plus, we have a home base. The in-laws, the in-laws are in Colorado. You guys are in Colorado, so we're going to be in and out of Denver constantly.
Yeah.
So having the house in Arvada also makes it so that we don't have to spend money on hotels.
Right.
I can keep a car there. All we got to do is get from the airport. If we don't drive in, get from the airport
Yeah.
to the house. We're going to have a Jeep there, or a Dakota there, or whatever. And so we have a vehicle. So we're always going to be Colorado people. We'll still be here.
Yeah.
We just don't want to.
It'll
go
always be
in
home. It just won't be
Colorado.
home.
And basically, when we do sell the house in Arvada, we will be able to easily pay off the house in Topeka, plus have a nice nest egg, and live out the rest of our lives with no mortgage.
Yeah.
And
guess.
that's a rare.
Are you
That's a
gonna
rare.
be chasing them down?
There's
be
no,
chasing you guys
there's
down.
no way that would be a possibility
No, not even.
if we weren't doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
You guys could have moved to La
my,
Jolla with
my
me.
house, my house in
That's
on a cul-de-sac in Arvada is worth $800,000, and that sounds ridiculous. That sounds ridiculous. If you told me right now that, hey, I'm going to buy this house
Yeah.
for $800,000, I'd tell you, you're out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah.
But when people see the pictures of the place that we've bought in Topeka and the piece of land that it's on, and see,
You want the price on
and
there,
then
too?
we paid $309,000 for that.
300.
Yeah, I know.
And like, we are in a spot in life. We've worked our asses off.
You guys
We're
deserve
very
something once in a
thankful to
while.
come
you know?
out.
Right,
Right.
right.
We've
Something
been to-
nice. Yeah.
Myself, Rachel, Nikki, we've all been to the points in life at separate points that we've had nothing.
Oh yeah.
To come to a point and be blessed enough to have the family that we have,
Yeah.
to have the kids that we have, to have you guys and all that, and to be able to own 2 homes.
Right.
Yeah.
Never in my life would have
Never
thought
would have
that I could be
fathomed
able
that.
to pull that off. And it's
Here
because
we
of
are.
the people. It's, you know, we worked our butts off, but it's also because of the people around us. And, you know, everything that we've done to this point has been planned. I know it was very confusing when people were like, all of a sudden, Eddie's got a brand new truck because
Good
told- I
old,
told
good old
Dennis-
Dennis
I
over
told
there.
Dennis,
It
we
was a
looking it
plan.
up.
What's up?
I told Dennis a year before I bought the truck.
Yeah.
I'm buying a truck within the next year.
Yeah.
When he got the job at Alpine
Yeah.
Ford, we started working the deal. Decided to buy the truck. You guys were like, "Oh, you're gonna buy a truck?" And then I got a brand new trailer because we hadn't told people yet that we'd been looking for a house for a long
Yeah.
time since Nikki been out there. And then I bought a brand new trailer, and you guys are like,
What?
"What's up? We
Yeah.
got a new truck and a new trailer." And I came clean. And I was like, "It's all part of the plan because there's gonna be a lot of driving back and forth." So
Well, that's, you know.
You're unhappy now, but you'll be happy later.
You
You're
gonna
gonna be
cry in the
fine.
car.
I'm
But
basically-
when you're at
You're
my
just-
when you're at my house in the one bathroom of that house in Topeka and you're sitting in that jacuzzi tub looking at the fireplace,
Which, by the way, 2 people can fit in that tub.
Like,
Yes.
like,
you guys could both be in the tub if you
Easy.
really want to.
Easy.
You guys could, just like when you're little kids, you guys take a bath.
Yeah.
We'll do it,
See?
G. We'll put a podcast up in there.
Straight
You
up.
guys should.
You
That
could
would
have
be
the
the best thing ever.
bubbles
You
and
guys
the
should do a
candles.
podcast
You're
from
like,
my
welcome.
bathroom.
I'm totally down.
Yes.
This side from here up and
Like
a
a-
bunch of bubble
now-
bath.
Yes.
on Dumb and Dumber when they're
Yes, in the
Yeah.
hard tub,
So
dude.
now
I'm down.
when you put
Yes.
when you put
Dennis is like, hell no.
Dennis gonna be out there with
now that we
us.
talked
He
about
be
this
filming
bathroom in
it.
this house in Topeka, when you put the
He's the
pictures up on
cameraman.
the screen,
I'm putting the one of you in it.
well, you could put the one of me in it, but you need to put the I think I sent you guys a video of, I think it's in the group chat.
Probably.
If not, I'll send you the video in the group chat of me doing like the 360 in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
People are gonna want to know about this bathroom now.
Yeah.
Everybody that's seen the video of this bathroom, which this house has 3.5 bathrooms, but if they've seen the video of this bathroom, are like, what in the hell is going on in this
There's a
bathroom?
For sure.
fireplace.
Like,
For sure.
yeah.
Bridget thought she's like, "This tile all the way to the ceiling." I said, "Yeah."
I just seen you in the tub and was like,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
amazing.
We're about, yeah. So I got in the tub and then I yelled. I'm like, Rachel, come take a picture of me in the tub.
I know.
I saw
I
you in
had
the
to.
tub, I knew it was over.
It's not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not.
I mean,
We're
So
doing
when
it.
people
doing
when
it.
people see this bathroom, you guys are going to be like, where this guy has lost his mind.
Yep.
Like this house is beautiful, but it stands for our life's work.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
that
We can be
moment
proud.
of,
Like I
oh,
said,
yeah.
we're very proud of our house in Arvada.
I do, I love it.
It's on a cul-de-sac on a green belt in Arvada.
And we have
It
like
looks
one of the
every-
biggest yards in the
Yeah,
cul-de-sac.
we have the
got
biggest
lucky.
yard. We've got the most parking. The house
Yeah.
has been great. We love that house. I could
We've added to
I
it.
could live the rest of my life at that house
Yeah.
if it wasn't for the big factor of we need the space
Yeah.
and the way the things in Colorado have happened.
Right.
This just ain't the place for us. This ain't
Yeah.
that ain't our locale anymore. We talked about moving
For a
to
long
we actually talked
time.
about moving to Pueblo.
Yeah.
And if that was feasible, because we're not old enough to really retire yet.
Right.
We're retired but not retired, so we're not old enough to really do that. So we still have to have jobs, and for the amount of income that we need to make, Pueblo wasn't the right choice for that. We talked about buying some property out east of Denver, and then we talked about 10 years from now that
Yeah,
was just
it
going
would
to
just
be
be the
Denver,
same.
and it was still
Right.
super expensive. So
Oh, yeah.
we knew that it was going to be outside Colorado, and so that's why we've done what we've done. And everybody asks
Yeah.
why Topeka. It's because Nikki got a job there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
realistically, yeah.
Nikki got a job there,
And it's just
I didn't
worked
care.
out.
I was like, I can go to Wichita. I was like, I'm down for Great Bend. Let's go to Great Bend. I
Yeah.
would live in Great Bend in a second.
Yep.
We lived in Texas. We looked all around. We looked at some Utah places, and she got a job in Topeka, and she loves it there. They
Yeah,
love her.
that's beautiful.
Topeka's about the size of Pueblo, probably.
Yeah.
It's not very big.
I think we compared the population. It's like 120 with Pueblo West.
Yeah, it's
Get him with that top 3, top 5.
Not yet.
So I mean, it's we love it there. There's no traffic. The rest
And everybody's so nice.
you can go to the restaurants and park
Like,
and like not have to battle people.
it's like it's a
Right.
whole different
Everybody's
world.
nice.
And it's not
People are-
flat like people assume.
No.
It's very like
Eastern Kansas, everybody's like,
it's,
oh my god, it's so flat and it's
hilly.
brown.
It's so pretty.
Eastern Kansas is like very like,
and it's got
rolling
like
hills
it's like
and
a
green.
whole different
When
green.
the videos you were sending, you're going out there because we've kind of been in the know this for the past year.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always green. It ain't
yeah.
just like nothing.
No, it's just
You
it's
definitely
so
don't gotta water
pretty.
your yard there.
right.
Definitely, there's no
Right.
sprinkler
It's
systems
so
there.
humid. Yeah.
It is humid.
I'll be the judge of that when
It
I
is
get
humid.
out there.
Okay.
You've been in the humid.
Once
You're-
I be
you're
in that
gonna-
tub, I don't give a shit.
you're
Where
gonna-
I'm at.
But you guys from here, you guys can drive. It's an 8-hour drive from here, just like it is from Denver, even going the southern route. But you can fly into Kansas City. The airport is on the west side of Kansas City, so you get in a car and it's like 65 miles or something
Yeah,
like that.
it's not
it
bad.
takes 50 minutes.
Right. But
Because
it's
you
so nice.
You drive out of the airport and you get on the highway and you get on I-70 and you go 90 miles an hour to Topeka.
Yeah.
And then where our house is, you go through Topeka, or you go around the bottom side of Topeka on 470 and you get off on Wanamaker and
It's-
you go behind the mall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
all of a
what's
sudden,
up?
Dean knows
Yeah.
about Watermaker.
Yeah,
Wanamaker.
It's the main drag on the west side of town.
All right.
You don't get around town without you know,
It's like
Yeah.
Wadsworth.
We'll when we get out there, we'll
It'll be
see.
good.
Oh, yeah,
You
we're
guys
going.
are gonna come out there. You guys have seen the pictures, but I know when you come out there, you're gonna be like, "This is the jam."
For sure.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be great.
The
I'm
streets
gonna-
are wide.
And we need that barbecue.
I can
Oh,
turn
it's
around.
Kansas
Like we were
City
talking
has
about the
some of
size of the
the
property.
best.
That's what I'm
Oh
saying.
my God.
I can. The
Even in the
property
mall
is bigger than the
Had some
entire
amazing barbecue.
cul-de-sac
Yes.
that I live on.
You guys keep going.
Yes.
I'll run inside real quick.
If you combine all the houses that are on my cul-de-sac, this house is on more property than all the houses in my cul-de-sac.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
And
crazy.
it's just over an acre. So
It's-
that
yeah.
tells you how crammed everything.
She might have the girls sleeping. You can go right here in the back.
But you can that just tells you how crammed everything is.
Right.
And you know, we can hear the neighbor lady behind us. They move in there, they're renting behind us, and we know that kid's name intimately because
Right.
It's
yelling at the kid or
Ella Marie.
Ella Marie.
Well, my brother is probably a year and a half, 2 years tops from moving down to like Kyle or Austin-ish area in Texas. He's done with Colorado.
There's a lot of people that
Yeah.
are doing the same thing. And like I
Yeah.
said, if it was, we never thought we would have to do it, but we're just at that
I've
point.
had a lot of coworkers come from like Illinois, Iowa, and they're just like, Colorado's so great. And then like 2 weeks later, they're like, I need to work more because my rent went up.
Well,
and I'm
it's
like,
funny, the people that we're buying the house from in Topeka,
oh yeah,
they moved to Colorado.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So they moved to Colorado, except their situation's opposite. So we have our house in Arvada, and then we're going to sell it and pay off the house in Topeka at some point. They sold this house in Topeka, and for the money they sold the house to us in Topeka, they have a condo in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, because he's like in
Went
like
from-
the
That
military
makes
or
sense.
something.
So it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah,
of
which
what
That
is
we
makes
do.
sense.
crazy.
Yeah.
They downsize him.
Yeah. Well, they don't have a choice.
Yeah,
Right.
Because
You're not getting that kind of.
No.
Hell no.
No.
There's like, and that, like, what's crazy is like, you see pictures of this house, you couldn't build that house for $309,000.
Oh God, no.
Hell no.
It is
Not even
so
close.
Really
nice.
couldn't believe the price.
Well, so we looked at the sale. So the house was built in 1959. And so what's crazy about Topeka and the Midwest in general is so many houses that are for sale are one-owner houses. Like people built the house in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
And they stay
and
there.
then they lived there and
Yeah.
then they died and it went into, it got
Right.
sold. So this house came out of an estate in 2020. Somebody bought it for $70,000.
Ooh.
That place. And it doesn't look like it does now.
Right.
No, it's
But
changed,
basically, same
yeah.
property, same, and they redid it completely. Sold it to the people that we're buying it from, and then but they paid $70,000 for that house in 2020.
That's crazy.
And you can still buy, like our daughter, our 18-year-old daughter, soon to be 19. When's the last time you've heard a young adult say, "My goal is to own a house by the time I'm 25"?
Right. Because she's been looking on
They
Zillow.
can't do it in Denver.
Yeah.
You're not
In Topeka,
She's
you
like,
can
I
buy
can't.
houses for less than $100,000 still.
Right, and
So
they're
she
cute.
can buy a house and buy a little one-bedroom house in one
Right.
of the older neighborhoods, and it's cheaper than what the rent is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
So
look,
kids, they're never going to be able to do that.
Nope.
it took me and Lauren, into our, she's in her mid-20s, but, took me into my...
We're talking about age gap relationships again, bud? Were you tuning her through drags?
No, I definitely wasn't tuning it. The funny story is I used to know her friend her boyfriend that she was dating in high school. I used to be good friends with him, so that's actually it. But anyways, it took us this long to buy a house in Colorado.
So you just got to you're going to take advantage of it.
Crazy.
There's nothing, going back to the reasons why people have asked us, you guys crazy or whatever. We're at that point in life. We don't want to, we're tired of the hustle and bustle. We're
Getting
tired
too old
of the
for-
political climate. I'm just going to go right out there and say it.
Just
Tired of the political
yeah.
Oh,
climate.
for sure.
And people so worried about stuff that doesn't matter, worrying about it. And we're going to take advantage of the fact that the big discrepancy in properties and values and do that and do it to it. And it's close enough that it's not in Colorado, but it's close
Yeah.
enough. It's not like it's
We're not
Florida.
that far.
Right.
We talked about moving to Florida.
Yep.
We're like, why is everybody moving to Florida? So I looked it up, and it's like, well, they're the same way. There's few states like Kansas. Another one of the reasons is when we do retire, Kansas is one of the handful of states that does not tax retirement income. So they tax it federally, but you can collect your Social Security and your retirement tax-free, state tax-free. So every place has its deals with taxes. There's tax advantages. Every state and the government needs the tax money to operate. So in Kansas, the sales tax is low. The tax on gasoline is low. Gasoline's 50 cents a gallon cheaper in Kansas because it doesn't have all the taxes that Colorado has. Colorado property taxes are very low.
Compared to a lot of other states, for sure.
This house in Topeka, the property taxes are more than double what the taxes are on my house in Arvada.
Yep.
When you register cars there, they do it not. They don't give you this page and a half of fees that you're paying.
Yeah.
They do it they charge you property tax on the cars. So it's by the value of the car. So, my truck, I'm going to keep it registered in Colorado as long as I can because it'll be cheaper to do here. But when you go to the 7-Eleven, I don't really have 7-Elevens in Topeka.
Something like that.
Yeah,
They got
Casey's.
They got
Casey's.
Casey's. There is a Casey's.
Oh,
So
shit.
Yeah.
here's the thing: if you go out of our driveway and you turn left,
There's Casey's.
there's a Casey's.
Yeah.
If you turn right and then take another right, you're at Menards. Menards. You can go to Menards. I'm going to be going to the Menards on my ruckus quite a bit.
All the time.
But
Those sidewalks are so
you
big.
can go to the Casey's and get you a 32-ounce fountain soda and 2 slices of pizza for $3 because they're not taxing the crap out of you
Right.
on that kind of stuff. So, there's advantages to everything, but there is tax advantages, especially on retirement income. So, we're going to take advantage of that and have to be smart about it. And
Just
we've
leave
done
me
some
hanging.
thinking.
just do it.
We've done some thinking. Believe it or not, I do think about things more than DRZs and Cadillacs.
Speaking of DRZs, again,
Yeah.
how many have you given away to us? 3? To
There's
me?
3 have gone away, and then funny thing to talk about that. One of my OG buddies, Jonathan, he texted me yesterday.
Just bought a 25.
No, he's going to buy a 25. Once we're waiting for Dynajet to get sorted out on the tuning of them. It's useless to mod one if we can't tune it. So if they haven't cracked the tuning yet, then we can't. It'd be like buying a brand new Mustang. Donnie knows about that deal. You can't tune them unless you put a Whipple on them. And you can get the stuff through Ford. So he's waiting until the tuning stuff, and then he's going to get one, and we're going to develop that. But he's dating a girl that has a Honda CRF 300L, and they might want to do some trail riding. So he called me or texted me, wanting to know if he could borrow a DRZ. So typically, yes, the answer to that is yes, you can borrow a DRZ. But then I said, just come pick out the one that you want, because I'm the goddamn Johnny Appleseed of DRZ.
Well, so with
I said, do you feel like you need? I said, my kickstart, or not my kickstart, my motocross bike and my supermoto, keeping those. But I still have 2 E models and I have an S model.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are you thinking that you need dual sport like adventure? Like you need to go to Argentina at some point?
Get Skittles and beef jerky?
Shit.
Or do you think you just need a trail bike? And he's like gonna let me know on that. And I'm like, you just come over. And pick up what you want.
Well-
So he's like, well, I'd buy it from you. And I'm like, what? I told you, I'm Johnny Appleseed at
Yeah.
DRZs. And
You know
I was
he's gonna
so
take
you
care
just
of
come
it.
Pick the one that you want to basically babysit, and then once you get a 25 or a 26 DRZ4 fuel injected one, then we'll figure it out because he don't have enough room in his garage for 2 DRZs. I mean, he's not like me that's got motorcycles stacked up like goddamn bricks in my garage.
Well, then how do you feel about doing a giveaway?
We could potentially do a giveaway.
So if the 3 of us went in on doing a channel giveaway,
yeah,
is what I'm saying.
yeah,
What do you think about doing that?
I'm down for it.
We got to find one.
That'd be cool.
They're out there.
Oh, there, yeah.
He's gonna,
Not this one.
He's gonna come home with
You ain't getting this one.
He's gonna come home with a crate full of parts and be like, I
Care-
got 3. I
Next
got
week.
3 of them.
Careful,
Next
he
week,
might.
I don't.
Yeah.
Somehow I got 3 of them.
I don't need to come home with a crate full of parts. I got
No,
a shop
no,
full of
yeah.
stuff, So.
But I mean,
yeah, I'm down for it. Let's do it.
should we do like a big bore one like mine? Should we do a stock one like that with all the cool shit?
Don't bring us into this.
I see.
She's
I see
listening.
what we come up with, and
And
I
do
mean,
like-
realistically, like
so
we should have something that is street legal and has a title. And
so
then we can make
remember the one that you built for Dirt Rider magazine?
it. Yes.
It was a supermoto, and
Yep. I was thinking the same thing.
He's like, do
Be able
that
to do
again.
both.
it goes with a set of wheels and tires.
Yep.
Dirt wheels and tires.
So,
Supermoto.
so I think the way to do that is to find a cheap S model.
Okay.
Start with a cheap S
Well, you
model
keep-
with a title because you can converting an S model into an SM is basically a set of wheels and some brakes. And
Yeah,
that's
you
the
just
way
got
it
you
is.
just got to get a
That's
bigger
an easy
brake.
switch back and forth, but we can do that. I'm down for that.
I say we do.
I don't
that.
know if people are ready for a Speedworks giveaway.
Oh, they
And,
might
I mean,
be.
we could do it like I'm talking like we should get a hold of Dave and like get a
I'm sure we
good
could
pipe
get Dave
on.
to do that. We can probably have him come and we can do the. You can come and we can put it on the dyno. Like we can get
Yeah.
the cycle.
Hell
involved.
yeah.
So this is not any giveaway.
No, I'm talking like
It's
this
not
is
some like basic bitch DRZ.
no, I'm talking like let's do
Like a
deep-
Speedworks DRZ.
Yeah, I know a
Okay.
guy that can tune a carburetor.
All
Not
right,
on the
then.
I
junior
know a
dragster.
guy. I
Not on a junior
I know a
dragster.
guy.
For the record, I've never touched a junior dragster.
But you
carburetor.
could.
I've not gone up there and grabbed the belt and pulled the belt to like loosen up the clutch and then like rolled it back and forth. I've never gone up there,
Yeah.
kicked the tire to stage it, any of that. So I've
But-
never done any junior dragsters.
But
It sounds like I know a lot about junior dragsters, but I'm just going on
Not
record.
that- not that much,
Never
though.
it's just what we
done
see on the internet.
I just
Yeah.
It's just between what we share.
It's just hypothetical.
Allegedly.
We don't
I only
know.
report what I see.
I only repeat what I only
Oh
repeat
my
what I hear.
God.
I only repeat what I hear, not what I
I only
know.
report what I see.
Dennis, what time's the track hot tomorrow, bud? The track's hot at 10. What time are we gonna get in the gate?
Gates open at 9.
Gates open at 9.
I actually just had some.
Well, my shit's already there.
I saw somebody ask you if it was raining. out
Is
there.
it raining?
No way.
Yeah, it was him.
Oh, did you see? He posted the thing, and it's like, is the timing fixed? Is this fixed?
Just
And
a bunch of dumb
like
questions.
12 people ask
Yeah.
questions, and I go, is it raining?
Is it raining?
All I wanted to say is it's Pueblo, dog.
It's Pueblo.
And that's the thing that people need to understand is Pueblo's always going to be home, and that goes back to what
Yeah.
we're talking about very early on. However long we've been on this podcast is I love Sporty, I love Bandamere. Bandamere's been a big part of my life, and it super sucks that it was gone.
Yeah.
But it didn't change a lot for us because we've
Yeah.
always been about Pueblo, dog. And
We've been riding dirt bikes at
drove,
Pueblo
I love
since.
Pueblo.
I
I love it.
drove by Bandamere many times to come down here. We've not only drag raced at Pueblo a lot.
Oh, a
We've
lot.
also been on dirt bikes, sitting on the other side by the bleachers on the other side, and had Larry yelling at us to get off the mount.
Yeah. We've been at Pueblo Motorsports Park, Honor Farms in Pueblo for many years.
Yep.
Many years. And I'm excited about if we really do a giveaway. Like,
That'd be great.
It'd
That'd
be
be
a
cool.
sick bike, dude.
I don't see why not.
It ain't be
yeah.
no joke for people that want to get in on that.
Hell
We're
yeah.
gonna have
Really
to
ain't.
figure out a way
That'd
to
be
do the
legit.
giveaway. We'll
Yeah.
It
build.
needs to be documented. It needs to be documented from acquiring it to getting the parts.
Yeah.
We can do the thing.
Yeah.
I'll commit to, guys. You guys know that I'm not all about making the videos and doing that stuff. But
Well,
I'll
we can
commit
come
to-
up there if you want to work on it one weekend. You can put a DRZ together in 3 hours.
I put 8 of them together.
Yeah.
In, 8 of them together
Yeah.
in a winter.
And it's
Yep.
like, and go.
Yeah, so like we could do, we'll do that, and it'll be a sweet bike, and then we'll get that squared away.
No, I'm down with it.
But-
We do
so-
that, and we'll have to do some footwork, and we'll get some.
In this episode, we talked a lot about motorcycles and how that's just what we've come from. With today's current supercross and motocross situations, the Danger Boy Deegan.
Yeah, it kind of
Through the 90s, for me, it was Jeremy McGrath.
Yep.
Through the early 2000s, it was Ricky Carmichael.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's Danger Boy Deegan.
I've been
Oh,
following Hayden Deegan. I've always been big into following amateur motocross, so I'm really into following previous pros, kids that are coming up through the ranks, just to see how
They're
their parents
Adapting.
deal with that. Like right now, like Ivan Tedesco, his kids come up and coming through the ranks.
Yep.
You know, there's been tons of kids. Tim Ferry's kid, Timmy Ferry, he's come up through the ranks and fast, and it's cool to see this generational speed. And then I've been watching Hayden Deegan since he was riding KTM 50s come through,
And he is
I am
an
on
absolute-
the Hayden Deegan.
He is an
is-
absolute
Yep.
beast.
He
I
is.
don't
Guy
care.
Is an animal on. I knew when I saw that kid on a Super Mini, on a 105 KTM. When I saw this kid, I'm like, this kid is going to be the jam. And have there been faster people in Supercross? Yes. He's not a Supercross specialist. He's going to win the championship. It's not like he's winning every round, but he's always right there. And they're smart about it, and he's going to win the championship. But I'm telling you right now,
Outdoors,
Outdoors.
he is going to be unstoppable.
I've never,
Yeah.
and I was on the James Stewart train
Uh-oh.
outside.
Don't get me started with him.
I've never
That's my
seen
dog.
anybody do the things that he does on a motocross bike outside at those speeds.
Yeah.
Never.
So
There's things that, and I'm not wowed easily by people on motorcycles that are riding.
Help
Yeah.
yourself, dog.
And
I got
I've
over there.
seen Danger Boy pull some shit off that I'm like, I cannot believe that he just did that.
if you were to take those three that I named, we'll talk Supercross first. Jeremy McGrath, Ricky Carmichael, Hayden Deegan, everybody in their prime, their absolute prime. How would you stack them on the podium?
James Stewart's the fastest
No,
man ever.
Jeremy. We'll leave him out because I know he's the fastest man on the
Okay.
planet.
Okay.
Jeremy McGrath, Ricky Carmichael, Hayden Deegan. How would you stack them on the podium?
Man, that's a tough one. I think that Hayden Deegan's got the talent to be one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. It's a little early to tell. He seems like he's pretty durable. I hope that he's pretty durable, but with known deals right now, I'd put, if they had to race today in their prime, Deegan would probably be third on the podium, and then it'd probably be McGrath and then Carmichael.
You think-
Carmichael?
You think he'd be number one?
I think he would. I think that Carmichael just worked hard. He didn't have the natural talent, but he just worked hard. And his parents were level-headed people, and just he didn't. Ricky Carmichael didn't do what he did because of raw speed. Ricky Carmichael did what he did because he just worked at it. He when people say you can do anything if you work hard, that's Ricky Carmichael. Jeremy McGrath definitely, of the three, Jeremy McGrath had the raw talent.
He did.
Hayden Deegan's got the He has
potential.
the mentality that we had, and when I had my pro supermoto team, when we pulled up, you're buddy in the pits, and everybody's cool, but when you strap the goggles on, the bike's running, and you're waiting for the start, that you want to kill everybody.
Yeah, and
On
he's
that path.
been doing it.
And
He's come from last place.
That kid has never worried about money in his life, right?
No,
so people
yeah,
hate on him
absolutely
because
not.
they think everything's been given to him or whatever. You
Which
still
he
got
had.
you
Which
still
he-
got to ride the motorcycle. Did he have the good equipment? Yes, but that guy rides like he's trying to make money to eat that night, and I'm with that.
Yeah,
I'm with that. When we were racing pro supermoto, it was we need the money to buy fuel for next week, and we need the contingency money for the tires.
Yeah,
So you think he has the potential to be the GOAT?
Yeah, I think he does.
So let me switch gears. Kerry Hart, Brian Deegan, Travis Pastrana, podium freestyle.
How would you place him in X Games medalist?
So Travis Pastrana is going to be the gold. He's going to be the top. That guy was.
Well, what's that guy? I heard you met him one time. What's he like when you met him when he was in his?
You met Travis Pastrana?
Oh yeah, we met him at
Copper Mountain
Supermoto because he raced Travis Pastrana raced Supermoto several seasons.
What did he ride?
Suzuki RMZ 450. Well, he rode a DRZ,
of course,
and then he rode an RMZ 450. But yeah.
So how would you place them in X Game medals?
So it would be Travis Pastrana would be the gold, and then it would be Deegan, and then Kerry Hart.
Okay.
Damn, y'all just gonna shoot all my hopes down. All right.
It's my opinion.
I remember watching.
It's hypothetical,
right.
bud.
I remember I went to the theater when I watched Kerry Hart attempt that first backflip.
We saw that in Springs at the IMAX
together.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I remember we were like emotional about it.
Dude, he fucking.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
But yeah, I'm down with the Deegan train.
Yeah.
I watch it just because he's entertaining.
He's the only reason I got Peacock again.
It's a show.
For real.
He puts on a show.
He's a badass.
He works the crowd. He's not afraid to talk some crap to people, but he backs it up. And case in point,
dude gets arrested.
Yeah,
within
yeah.
a week, he's got T-shirts.
He gets with less than a week. He gets arrested for doing donuts in a parking lot in his R8.
Yeah.
Makes a T-shirt with the mugshot.
Yeah.
Owns it.
Genius.
Dude,
Owned it.
perfect marketing, dude.
Yeah.
He knows. They know what that family's smart.
That's what Brian Deegan is smart.
He's
Dude knows how to market.
He's very smart.
Haley's eye too.
Yeah.
She's not a very good race car driver. She's talented,
In a lot of ways.
but
All right.
anyways, let's close this out. That was our last
I
thing.
think I need some chicken strips at Applebee's.
I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna
starving.
have this guy take me. I'm gonna see if Lauren's at the hotel waiting for me.
Cool.
And then we are gonna.
We could do like another one of these.
Oh,
Because there's so many other things.
This
There-
might have to,
yeah.
you guys might have to split this in.
We can just do
dude,
part
this is
one.
raw, dude. 2.5 hours.
Like a whole
Raw,
nother,
dude.
like we there's so many other things to uncover. You know,
We just
Pikes Peak Hill Climb days.
Oh yeah, we
you
just
know, there's
scratched the
so
surface.
you know.
We haven't even got into the fact that for a 10-year period, and this can be episode 2 of the podcast at some point. For a 10-year period, I was at every Colorado Supermoto round that there was, and I'd have to do the mathing again. There's a point in time where Stuart Sinclair or Leland Sinclair on a Speedworks Honda won every pro Supermoto race in the Colorado Series, one or the other of them. Dominant.
And then can't forget you had a professional arena cross team.
Had a professional arena cross team for a season.
Traveled
first
the country
season.
and
Yep.
went to all pro arena crosses.
Yep. Did some pro arena cross. It's a pro motor.
See?
Look, we're just gonna have to do
That
a whole
could be a-
nother
that could be a
podcast
part
on just
two.
dirt
the,
bikes.
the motorcycle
Yeah.
racing part of the Speedworks thing, we talked about like our personal,
Right.
and me building DRZ motors. We hadn't even get into the fact
could
that
dabble in
I
more.
developed CRF 450
Yeah.
from the carbureted days
to when
all
they
the
first
way-
came out,
all
fuel
the way
injected in
fuel
2010
Yep.
or 2009 when they come.
So there's that to get into, like our race week adventure specifically.
Yeah.
You might just be a
40
regular
minutes
guest.
Past the turn in Greeley,
Right.
the 1056
Every
abandonment.
time.
There's so
Every-
much still to
Dennis
go.
having a
Leaving
grim-
Dennis at the
Dennis having a
starting
grim
line
shake.
again. Like,
Every time we take the route to or from Denver and
We
Kearney,
always miss a
Nebraska,
turn.
miss the same goddamn
I hate
turn. And
that.
everybody's mad at me. Like if I'm
you basically.
I was asleep.
No shit.
Fuck no, dude.
Hilarious.
And then not
yeah.
only that,
We were flying.
we haven't even talked about the first time the first race week we got pulled over twice in a week.
Yeah. No. it's
First
true.
time we
Doing 130,
Your
140.
first race we got pulled over. My first race we got pulled over.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've never been
we
pulled
have to
over.
get into the whole thing about Sal being nervous because we got pulled over going.
I
Speaking
thought
of
we
which,
were all
race-
going to jail.
race
We had
weekend.
to have a whole conversation about. I'm like, okay, if they arrest me,
We had
and he's
to
like,
get-
what do you mean if they arrest you? And I
We
said,
had
we
to
were
have
going
me
way
come
faster.
pick up the-
Like we were going way over speed limit, so they might arrest me. And I'm like, don't worry about me.
Yeah.
I'm like, call Nikki, have her transfer you the money, go get the car.
Yeah.
I can sit in the jail. We don't want the car sitting in
Yeah,
the
we don't need
impound
the
lot.
car
I'm like,
to
go
sit in
get the
jail.
go.
Right, I was
Yeah.
so
Like,
scared.
go get
that
the
day.
car.
I was.
Speaking of which, I think registration for race weekends tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, they're gonna do it in 2 parts. They're
So
gonna do
yeah,
the first
this one and then there's
So
another
I'm not gonna do the first one because that's the only race this year that's a maybe for us because I'm for sure committed to all of the Steel Cities.
Right.
Want to do the race weekend, but there's like
So
boom,
much
boom,
going
boom
on.
races.
Right.
Yeah.
If I have to choose between those two, I will choose If I have to choose, I would like to move to
Steel
but if I have to
Cities.
choose, I'm going to choose Steel City.
Just leave the trailer here. Come out for the race.
No, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. There's lots of
Yeah.
options. That's just months away. So
Yeah.
we just got a lot going on and
Right.
figuring that. But on our family Google Calendar, the section that is
True.
the moving, I've put all the weekends that we will be in Pueblo for racing in there so that people aren't trying to like commit me to doing stuff other than that. So
Yep.
we know prep. So
We know
we're gonna
preps, and we some on preps. We're gonna do Rocky Mountain Race Week. At least even
I
road
want
week.
to. We're
I'm
gonna
not
do
driving
something.
across. I ain't driving across no goddamn
No,
Royal
it's a
Gorge
weekend.
Bridge.
No.
No, hell no.
You have to. The checkpoint's in the middle.
No. Yeah, I'll do race. I'll
do
road,
road
week
week
it
in
then.
the Tahoe.
Dude, nope. You can go out to the thing and come back.
I ain't going out there.
All I can tell you guys about that is that it costs thousands.
That's a whole thing.
That's
That
because I'm risking
normally
my
drive
life.
across it, right?
It's insane.
You used to be able
Rocky Mountain Race Week across.
because it used to be
You know
able to.
what he's doing?
Yeah, you used to be. You
Not
just,
a
yeah.
couple thousand.
No, it's locked. You have to pay. You have to get like a permit, I think, to do
Not
it.
5,000. You know, it's a
Oh,
lot.
well, because it used to be you used
I
to be
don't
able to
even
just
want
drive across it like it was a road. Like when I was a kid,
probably
I
cut
drove
all this
across it
out.
with my parents,
Yeah.
but now you don't get to drive across
You
it.
gotta shut it down.
Yeah, you got to get a permit.
And a lot of people walk across it every day.
But-
All right,
we're gonna cancel this. Up.
Yes.
We're gonna cancel this now.
Got
So,
5 episodes left.
so
Alright.
Eddie and Rachel, the main. I consider you guys the main Speedworks people.
The glue.
We just do the social media stuff.
I just
We wouldn't
Let's,
have.
let's be clear. Cicero Speedworks has existed for much longer than we've existed.
Yeah.
It just didn't really have a name of that. Our whole family's been about it, racing and cars. That's been our whole life. It's in our blood. So that's what we do. And the name Cicero Speedworks just came up,
And it flows.
and it flows,
works,
and it's
yeah.
been a thing, and here
It'll
we are.
continue.
And it's not. It used to be just building motorcycles and tuning and stuff, but it's encompassed so much more than that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here
But
are.
we got some racing to do tomorrow. You got some chicken strips at Applebee's.
Yep.
Yeah.
I need to call Lauren, see if
Yeah.
she's at the hotel.
You better check in with her. She's gonna be mad.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Well, she came up late, so.
Yep.
But we are gonna end this here.
Oh, I got to use the test tube. We'll get some E67.
Yeah, don't
just
forget
kidding.
that.
Don't forget that.
I don't test
But
mine.
also on Elizabeth.
But we're gonna close this out here. Thanks for watching. Don't
Thanks,
forget,
guys.
like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all of our social medias, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace out.
Yeah.
We gon' turn it up tonight. We gon' party on the town. We gon' burn it up tonight. Let the ashes fall down. Yeah, we going up tonight. Rock your body to the sound. Sipping double cups of Sprite. A Bacardi and some Crown. Big bands in my bankroll, babe. Money coming in, got them pesos, ayy. We can get so high on the fuego, yeah. Tell me what it is and I'm A-OK.